a banger, I say. It's Friday, I say. He goes for something that's got a 17-minute interlude and just puts me to sleep.
Right, we'll see you in 5 minutes.
Sit back. If you're near a window, look outside. Look at the moon. Susan Stockwood want you to look at the moon. It's the new moon. It's the crescent moon.
No, wait, let's not wait.
It's a pink hyper moon.
I'll listen to it in the background. Tell you when it comes in, I'll stop you. Good morning, everybody. We are live on YouTube. You can click on the link if Ashley's put it at the top of the room. Judging by the look on his face, he hasn't yet, so he's doing that very quickly. You can click on the link at the top of the room to view us live on YouTube. We've got the wonderful James Sinclair. Hey! Today. Some of you might remember James from his... he was on Clubhouse quite early on, wasn't he? And then he's gone off to do proper things.
He went back to the real world. He loved it to start with.
Some of you will know him from his YouTube content and his public speaking and all other stuff. So he's coming in. We don't quite actually know what time.
Jim is not an early riser. Let him know he's not an early riser. So he said, I told him, guests normally arrive between 7:30 and 8, and I always frame it that way. I'm like, but come in as early as you like. That's my exact intentional language. Here comes a drop. No. But yeah, I reckon at 8 o'clock. Let's say for 8 o'clock. He might surprise me. He most likely won't. He don't like early starts. He actually is really interesting. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Niche.
It's 1 minute 50 seconds.
Wow. I'm glad I've got no control of the buttons anymore. It's really panning out well. Can I have a little bit more volume in my headphones? It's supposed to sound like a rapper. Yes, selector. Yes, technicals. That's perfect. Thank you. I sound amazing. Oi. Apple Crumble's been at it again, hasn't he? Upgraded the studio again. Turns up this morning. Early doors. I'm like, what's he here so early for? Like he never turns up at 6 anymore. He rocks in like Rihanna. I bet she turns up 5 minutes before a gig. That's what Apple Crumble's like. I was like, he's early. What's he up to? And he turns up with 3 new microphone arms. And then basically that new studio sort of he's reconfigured the new studio again. But it now looks, it's mega now, isn't it?
As it should be.
As it should be.
What was it, like nearly 1,500 quid on just arms?
They just need a few that are good at what they do to come and sit in here.
The value of the gear. A bad tradesman blames its tools, and now we've got that excuse.
We've got all the gear, no idea.
And some of the idea. Yeah, Jimbo's going to be a really good guest, actually, because I worked with Jim for a little while, and I've interviewed him a couple of my own podcast, and he's a very, very, very sharp operator. He's one of the best business operators I've ever witnessed.
The more you keep saying that you've interviewed people for your podcast, and the more you haven't asked me, I get offended day by day.
Between seasons. Between seasons. Well, I should have recorded that first ever conversation you had when you revealed the DJ background. That was the one. Because now everyone's heard your story. It's like, oh, Paul, yeah, made 25 million quid in a year. Fucking who cares? Do you know what I mean? Like, ugh, 25 mil in a year. Oh, Barclays' biggest bank, corporate bank, twice. 2 years in the back. Oh, cry me a river. Tell me a new one. Yeah, season 2 coming soon. Ironically, I'm someone who talks about branding whose brand is horrific. So I'm working on that. I've written Sashi Shipman the other day in the Turkish for it, and I'm sitting there going, you incongruent piece of beep. Also, my head designer has also been my wife, and it's a very, very fine line you have to tread.
I can imagine.
Do I have a... how's that website coming on? Okay, dear. Okay. You just let me know when you're ready. Anyway, Jimbo's coming in, and we are going to be talking about building an empire. The reason for that is part of Jim's business methodology is he really does only get involved in businesses that fold into what he calls fold into your existing empire. So he's just recently acquired a £2 million, what do you call it, like a trade bakery company, I guess it would be. Yes, like a patisserie, but it only supplies to trade.
Wholesaler, there you go. That's why you've done 25 million quid and I've done £25 singular. That's the difference. Okay, that's the difference. Yeah, so it's a trade bakery, trade bake-off.
It's a cash and carry, but it's
wholesale, whole meal wholesaler. That's what it is. It's whole meal wholesaler. But that then folds into the ice cream brand which is bought, which is Rossi, which is like a 98-year-old brand on from Southend, famous brand Essex.
Growing up, I thought that was like everyone knew Ross's, but it's just
It's literally just the 60s, isn't it?
I didn't know that. I thought that was
Just mad though. You go up that coastline, so you carry on going up the coast into like East Anglia, Norfolk, Suffolk. Not a Ross's anywhere. Not a single one. In that little spot.
Yeah, in the spot where I grew up.
Mad famous.
Because you had ice cream vans, it was in every shop.
Shops.
It used to be even in restaurants, they used to promote that the ice cream was Ross's.
Yeah.
And it was...
He supplies it to Co-op and Ocado. So it's a proper national brand. But it's really interesting.
If it wasn't Ross's as a kid, then you weren't.
What was the famous? Was they did like an ice cream which had like a lemon ice slush on it or something?
Yeah, it's lemon ice. It's
lemon ice.
Yeah, that was.
I just hear all the Essex people go, yeah, what's a lemon ice, bro? What's a lemon ice? What's a lemon ice?
It's like a lemon sorbet, but it just
that's a bit posh.
It was a knockoff version.
Ice cream, lemon ice cream.
It was a knockoff version that used to be so tangy that like
your analogy of food this week was so good. What was the tangy ice cream? The coffee one.
What was the goal of us doing these rooms to provide actionable, inspirational content? And we're talking about lemon ice cream.
And it was tangy, and I had some dusty coffee yesterday.
Oh, that was my quote of the week. Dusty. I tagged an Insta story, just said Dusty in a picture of a coffee. Oh, that killed me. But yeah, then he's also got farm parks, he's got soft play centres, and he's very clever because, like with the soft play centres, he also only buys them if you build a daycare nursery into them. So they've got a residual monthly income. Very, very sharp operator, and a very nice guy.
If you're from like Essex, East London way, you will know one of his, and have children, you will know one of his businesses.
Yeah,
that's that's. I think we've used nearly all of his attractions.
Yeah,
because
they're good as well. He's just had planning permission for a dinosaur park as well at Marsh Farm. He's got a million and a half dinosaur park going in.
Oh, yes.
The locals are furious apparently, but he loves it. He loves it, old Jimbo. So yeah, so we'll be talking to James. He's going to be here somewhere between 7:30 and 8 o'clock, depending on when his circadian rhythm naturally wakes him up, because he likes to wake up with an alarm clock. And and don't forget, if you could do us a favour this morning.
So let's actually hope he turns up, first of all.
Well, I know you don't like an alarm clock, Jim, but could you just set one for me just for tomorrow? And he's also got 2 small children, so I can't imagine his circadian rhythm is actually that natural these days with kids, because they just always wake up and why is it? Do your kids do this? The day where you've got to get up early, like I've been in 3 days on as exactly, because you didn't know you didn't have to turn up yesterday. Brilliant. 3 days at 5 o'clock house. So this week it was bound to happen, but always on a Thursday night, it was like the unsettled night in our house.
Oh yeah.
Like one of them's crying, the other one's having a nightmare, then the other one's crying again. That one needs to bottle it through. I'm like, what? How do you know?
That's just called parenthood.
How do you know? But it don't happen any other night. It's just a Thursday.
Yeah, when you haven't got to wake up, they stay in, they have a peaceful night's sleep. Like when you haven't got to get up at that time.
Yeah.
They're angels.
I said to Hayley yesterday, I was like, the kids rights one, yeah, George didn't wake up till 20 to 8.
I don't actually think I've slept through the night in 12 years.
That explains the general temperament. Yeah, but you've got 17, so there's always going to be a problem with one of them, isn't there? You've got a tribe.
Cheaper by the dozen.
I suppose, yeah, because every time you get past like the feeding phase, you've got like like it's a zoo.
Every time there's a room of my wife having to go back to work, we have another child. She plans it.
No, come on, Paul. Let's have a good 2 minutes. Not playing that game again. I'll see what you're up to.
She's not been to work for 12 years.
So when did it go?
No, I jest, but I couldn't do the work. But she does work. I couldn't do what she does looking after the 4 kids.
Well, I had to.
I love my kids dearly, but I'm glad my wife fulfills that role in our relationship.
I had the kids the weekend because she went away, and
I saw her Instagram stories. They looked hilarious.
This is
turns out her days of doing shots are over.
This is what, but I think nearly most of my immediate circle, my family, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay?
Uncle, yeah.
Are you okay? Like, do you want me to come and get one of the kids? And I was thinking, what invitation do I actually have? I was like, no, I'm having them myself, thanks. They're like, you sure? In the end, I was like, you can come.
I'm banned from leaving the house with all 4 of them on my own. So if Joe goes out and she's doing something, and I say, I'll take the kids over the park. No, please don't take them over the park. You'll lose one of them. I won't lose. Please don't take them over the park. Honestly, please don't. She's like, I couldn't deal with the stress. Stay at home and lock the door.
How do you do it with 4? Because like 2, I get it. Like you've got a left hand and a right hand. Like I can hold on to those 2 kids. Like nothing can happen because I can hold their hands.
Yeah, but it's when
Apart from beyond that though, like
Do you know what?
feral.
2 words. Steve Jobs. He solved all childhood issues, didn't he? He did.
Those beautiful, beautiful iPads.
He did. He was like the saviour to parents, Steve Jobs.
Do you know what? We've never really let ours have an iPad. He's 5. He has it to like play some games, but you know, like in restaurants. And
But you've missed 2 years of not really going out.
Yeah,
if you were
true.
the last 2 years, you were out a few nights a week with kids.
Yeah, that's true.
I say the same thing as you, and everyone says to me, I'll see you in a couple of years.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Actually, can I get a flash of mic? Can we have a flash of microphones with people? If you've got kids, do you let your kids use devices? Flash.
Carol, Zoe,
yeah, the majority of people.
Miguel.
Was that phase where you had to give in? Like, so did you come?
No, we were right. I tell you what. When we had our first child, and she was
actionable content.
I was always the wrapped up in cotton wool.
Oh yeah,
she was like the
The one that
what you do it the first time.
we were so bad. We had thermometers in every room. If the room was too hot, we took them out the room. That's how bad we were the first time. The second time round, it was like.
That's what you're told, isn't it? It's like it's got to be between 17.3 and 18.2.
But you're told by the manufacturer of the device that tells you.
Get another one.
Yeah, so we were terrible.
you're normally so soft with them.
We would look at other parents whose kids were like 2, 3, sitting there with an iPad at dinner, and we'd be like, "No, we're not going to be those parents." And after a few bad encounters of going out and a child screaming down the place, and we were like looking at each other, going, "What do we do?" The first couple of times we thought we'd give it, we wouldn't give in. We had to leave the restaurant because we were like, "This is just so bad. Let's leave." And then after that, we discovered the iPad.
I've paid for drinks.
And since then, it's fine.
I've sat next to us in a restaurant. I'm still sick of it, and I've gone to the not the cat. What do you call them in the restaurant? Oh, waiter. What's happened to my grandma's name? Like cashier. I was thinking wholesale. Pulls for a meal. I've said, we're sat next to that table. Can I just buy them a bottle of wine? Or have they ordered a bottle of wine? Can I pay for that? And they're like, why? I'm like, oh, you'll see. Oh, you'll see.
But what we try and do now is we'll sit down at the table, and they're all apart from the one who's a baby, the rest of them can have a conversation now. So we'll sit down at a dinner table and we'll try and have a conversation with them and keep that going as long as possible. When you see them drifting off, then we'll pull out the iPads, which usually is like after the start or something like that.
Yeah. Oh no, don't. One course now. One course. I only go places that are quick.
What, you like dinosaurs, beans and chips?
The kids might be.
Paul loves dinosaurs, beans, and
ravioli? Or them beans with sausages?
You know, back in the day, you used to look at a restaurant, you're like, if it's empty, you're not going in there because it's clearly not. You've got kids like, yeah, that's the place for us. We can have that whole corner. We can have a shit fit in that whole corner, and no one can say nothing.
Or when you leave the table and you just look at the floor. Where your kid's been eating all well.
I clean up. I get that embarrassed to clean up. And our little one, George, for whatever reason, he's got an obsession now. I think it's like a texture thing, isn't it? It's how they learn. But he's eating everything now with his hand. Like he's worked out to use a knife and fork. He's like 15 months. And he's worked out, he likes the fact that he wants to eat everything with a fork, apart from if you're supposed to eat the fork. So like last night, I gave him like a little bit of pita and hummus. And he's like stabbing it with a fork. And I'm like, why? But he just wanted to. But then anything else that's not like that, like he'll get some rice or he'll get his yogurt, and he just looks at you, he puts it in his hand, he squeezes it so it goes through his fingers, and I'm like, don't do it, George. And he just wipes it straight across his hair and then still puts it in his mouth. I'm like, you are genuinely disgusting. And everyone else in the restaurant is looking at you going, what on earth is that feral wild child doing? Is that kid eating its own hair after you dipped it in yogurt? You know, it's like that. Fair enough, George. Eat that pizza.
Or you're at the age where I'm holding youngest, you're trying to, I don't know, have you done, and they just want to grab it. But like the gravity, your reactions come very fast when you just holding.
You become like an octopus ninja. So
they go to fall off the surface. You call them. It's like
mine are pretty well behaved now, but yeah, they never used to be. Thank goodness for Steve Jobs. Anyway, so we get on to the topic.
Yours rule the roost in your gaff. So you think like, oh, he's a bit snipey. He's a bit like, he's a bit cold, isn't he?
Bit
You know what I mean?
spiky.
Bit spiky. You go to Paul's house, absolutely.
I can imagine that.
They have got him wrapped. I went there on a movie night, and they came out and they were going to just get some snacks, and then all of a sudden like, we're thinking we're going to get a Deliveroo. Do you want anything, Daddy? And it's just these little pajama angels. Do you want anything, Daddy? We're getting a Deliveroo. Do you want anything, Daddy? That's how they framed it. Like, brought out the iPad. Do you want anything? And we're having a takeaway.
Like they're doing you a favour, Paul, yeah?
Brilliant. They could have done anything, them kids. They could have got away with anything. They are sweet kids, to be fair. They are sweet kids. I blame the mother for that. Not the dad. Definitely blame the mother for the nice bit.
I'm not even going to honour you with a response
Fair enough.
this early in the morning.
Fair enough. Right to the conversation today, when we eventually get around to the conversation, we talk about building an empire here at Breakfast with Winners. Do us a favour, guys, if you haven't done so yet, on the bottom left, if you've got the updated version of the app, there's a little share icon in the bottom left-hand corner. If you could, do us a favour and give that a little click and share that out. If you've got the newest version of the app, you can share it into your hallway. And if we get enough people to share into the hallway, then people organically who are drifting through the hallway of 700,000 rooms that are currently being produced on Clubhouse every day, then people will spot this room and hopefully come on in. We get some new people in there, some new voices, some new opinions, some new wisdom, some new insights and all that good stuff. And you can also share out to socials as well. So just click the little share button in the bottom left-hand corner for us. That'd be much appreciated. We've got Jimbo Sinclair coming in somewhere between 7:30 and 8 o'clock. He owns, I think it's 13 brands now, probably in the southeast UK, employs about 1,000 people now. And he's on target to do 20 million quid in revenue this year. So he's a guy who's got quite a substantial business, and he's got a very, very, very interesting origin story, because his first ever employee was a full-time PA when he was 16 years old out of his nan's bedroom. Genuinely, that's how he got started. So he's got a great, great story, which we'll try and drag out of him this morning a little bit, and then we'll get some business insights and wisdom. He's got a really popular podcast as well called The Business Broadcast.
That's if he turns up, because we've got no guarantee.
Yeah. What time he actually wakes up. I might just leave a little message.
Is he like a Snoop Dogg style? I'm here now, so like...
We just do it now.
Yeah, I'm actually here.
I'll just try and nudge nature in the right direction, just to see if his phone's on, and just pop him a little message. I look forward to seeing you in 30 minutes, and we'll see what we get. Anyway, building an empire. What's the number one thing when you decide? Is it the decision to build an empire? Is it a conscious decision that you make? So what you do with your architect's practice, you knew that you needed to bolt on other services. Is it a conscious choice, or did you accidentally find yourself doing some stuff? You're like, oh, that works, we'll keep doing it.
No, I wouldn't say I ever said these words we coin the phrase, we coin phrases, don't we? We say we're building an empire, and for not clickbaity reasons, but for reasons to grab attention. But I wouldn't say at any point did I sit there and say to myself, I'm going to build an empire. Like literally, I made a very quick, hard decision to buy a business for £1 that had 250 grand worth of debt. So I was just looking at, I needed to very quickly, I didn't want to pay that debt personally. So I was like, I need to increase the cash flow of the business to be able to service the debt that the business had. So I just looked at ways of, that's how it started. I looked at ways of doing that and worked out that the additional revenue that we wasn't getting was going to other customers or going to other businesses. Sorry, so yeah. It was the services that we wasn't providing, that others were providing, that were part of the ecosystem that our work fitted into. So in the project and construction work, we was just one piece of the pie, and there were 10 other consultants that were doing other pieces of the work and getting chunks of the revenue or chunks of the money. So if do you know what, funny you talking about this, I recorded a podcast episode yesterday, which is going out on Monday, about this exact, because this is a very easy way for somebody, I think, any business, James will say the same, to triple your business. And I'll say triple, obviously I've done more than triple the business, but if you've got a client and you've got the know, like and trust of that client, and you're providing a good service for them in one product or service, to add additional streams of revenue by additional products or services, why would they not spend more money with you? And it's much easier to get somebody to give you more money than to go and find a new client or acquire a new client. So I just worked that out and looked at, if somebody's giving us 200 grand a year as architects, they're giving triple that to other consultants. So why can't we also be the other consultant part? So then one client, instead of spending 200 grand a year, they're now spending £600,000 a year with you. So, and that was, you times that by 10 clients, it can scale very quickly. But I wouldn't say at any point did I say, right, okay, I'm setting off on a mission to build an empire.
I can never imagine those words coming out of your mouth, to be fair.
No, it was just, we need to service this debt very quickly. How
every day I wake up and I'm like, come on, you can build a little empire today. A little podcast empire. Come on, son, you can do it. Come on, you can do it.
Do you know what as well, I think, and I think this is the difference between entrepreneurs and, so I went into a world where I employed, all of a sudden I had a team of 14 architects who had
on day one,
who had gone through years of university and they'd been conditioned to be architects. So their limit of thinking was, we are architects and that's what we are, that's what we do, and that's how we do it. But then coming in from the mentality where we've all sort of grown up, where you've had to sort of fight and hustle for everything that you've got, you can wear many hats and be many different things.
Yeah.
So there was that mindset of, we just do this and this is all we do, wasn't there. It was like, well, why can't we do something else?
Was that one of the biggest challenges to get them to think in that new kind of way?
Yeah, a little bit, because they're conditioned through years of learning to be architects, that they're architects and architects only.
Is that like an ego thing as well? Because obviously, you've gone through university, they're an architect, they're around other architects.
Probably. Creative people are difficult to work with, full stop. If you work with people that are massively creative, and you've got a creative team, it can be, what are you doing? Sorting the fan out. It can be very difficult with creative. So I think it was probably a little bit of ego, probably a little bit of thinking that they was better than other trades or other professions. But then for me, it was just passing through the desperate need to service this debt because I really didn't want to pay for it. So yeah, and did that go on to be an empire? I don't know. I wouldn't even say, what is an empire?
Oh, yeah, good point.
An empire means different things to different people, I guess.
Very true. James Sinclair update. Sent him a WhatsApp message. Still on the single tick. You know, you get the single ticked. Still on the single.
He's only about 20 minutes away though from here, isn't he?
I don't know. Where's Marsh Farm from here?
He's in Brentwood, I think, which is not far. It's up the A12.
It'd be the same journey for me.
Okay.
New studio, but actually still bashes the table.
He's still not.
Can you get me like some foam that just sits here?
Foam? We'd have to get you a set of shock absorbers or something. your foam. Foam's not really going to do it. We'd have to pad you in foam.
Maybe that's what we should do. We should just put him in
a Michelin Man suit.
Will you change the studio? Where are all the spare ones of these gone? Should we make him a suit?
Just tape it around me.
Tape it around. We could just I tell you what, to make it and to increase the speed of the learning, what we'll do is we'll staple gun it onto Ashley.
So I don't want it anymore.
So you don't want it anymore. Oh guys, do I have to today? Yeah, because you dropped your phone a couple of times.
I think we've got on the topic of empires. I think most people don't set out to build huge organisations or companies today.
No.
They probably set out to get like a little bit of freedom and choice first of all, and then they get that, and then you just continue to go on the journey.
Because that's a really interesting point, isn't it? So do you get to a point, when you've built a business of scale like you did, 120 odd staff in
126 staff, 6 countries.
6 countries. So did you get to a point where, we've built it to this far, we'll just keep going? Because like I say, you would initially, the mission was to take the 14 people, service the debt, and probably make yourself financially independent. Is there a conscious decision to go, let's go to that continent and I'll open that office there? Or is it just once the momentum starts building? I'm basically looking at our future, Paul, and I'm thinking, when we've got, the international, when we've got the Tallahassee Clubhouse International Corporation of Phonic, am I going to consciously decide that? Am I just going to find myself in Texas one day?
Every country we went because we had clients there.
So the client there before the office?
Yeah, or there was a strategic reason to go there. So China, for instance, we went to China because we was procuring a lot of stuff from China. So
right. Do you have an office in China?
Yeah. So we were procuring lots of goods. Well, lots of goods were being imported from China for the projects. So we ended up having a team of people there that looked after that for us. Middle East was because a lot of our clients were in the Middle East, so it made sense to have a face in the Middle East or an office in the Middle East where we could communicate with them from. I don't think I didn't set out to say, right, I'm going to dominate the Middle East or we're going to go and move into China. There was never like a strategic plan because
the client base
it was stuck in a cycle. You won work and you needed to service the work.
Yeah,
we had but the industry I was in, the projects were 12 to 18 months. So you'd have a project and then you'd have to service that project, and that meant having bums on seats drawing stuff or managing and looking after.
You make architects. This is probably why the architects didn't like you, because you were like, I just need your bum on seat drawing stuff. Mate, I've just been through 6 years of training.
They loved the site visit. I used to tell them, do not go to the site. They used to love a site visit, walk around, lose a day. But you just had to fulfil the need to get the work done. So again, some of the offices we had overseas as well. For instance, India was to because we could get labour on seats, work drawing. Yeah, and we were basically the strategy that we had was London office space was really expensive. We felt like we needed London office space. We didn't even think we needed a central London office space. So we had an office directly opposite the old Bailey Courthouse in St Paul's, and that was really expensive, like a small office for, what did we have in there, 40 people was nearly £200,000 a year in cost.
Wow.
For rates, business rates, service charge, all the stuff that goes with it. So we couldn't scale big numbers of people in London. Yeah. Just because without buying a building or doing it in a different way, just at that period of time, you couldn't do it. So we had to find other places. So we looked at other parts of the UK. I considered putting a team of people in Manchester where it was slightly cheaper and stuff like that. And then the labour cost is still predominantly the same. Yeah. Whether you employ somebody in London or Manchester, predominantly, yes, okay, you could
5 or 10 grand in it, isn't there?
Yeah, but it's not a game changer. Yeah. Whereas in India, we could employ qualified architects for a lot less than we could here in the UK. So we put a team of people in India that were doing the drawing.
And also wasn't part of the strategy as well, because then you could pretty much have a team working around the clock, because you could have something in London would fit their day, as India were kind of like picking it up, or
that's what happened.
Waking up, or
that wasn't a strategy. That's what the byproduct of that was.
Right.
It was purely from an economics perspective. Like in the UK, we had a cost per drawing. So when we price the project, this is why I go on about knowing your numbers really well in anything that you do, because this is an example of how we get caught out. We get cost per project, and we'd break that down to a cost per drawing. So we would say, okay, on a hotel fit out, a high-end hotel fit out, there might be a requirement to do 250 drawings. But very quickly, through tracking that we put in place, we worked out that it was costing us over £1,000 per drawing to produce those in the UK.
So if you do 250 drawings, you have to allow 250 grand's worth of time within that project just for that. But that element.
Yeah, but that was far too high. That was way right. But nobody knew that. We couldn't ascertain the cost. When I got involved, we couldn't go, okay, how much it cost to produce that drawing, because nobody was tracking it in that way or had the ability to track it in that way.
So you had to bring the cost down. You can't charge 250 grand for drawings to a client.
So we had to
bring it down.
Reduce the cost. So that's why, how do we reduce the cost? Well, we need cheaper labour to be able to produce those drawings, and that's why we had to look in other parts of the world to put people doing those drawings, because we just couldn't, with a central London office paying in a very competitive marketplace. What happens in that world as well, it's really good architects come out of university and get headhunted and picked up by the big practices, almost go around and do roadshows at universities and get to apply to them in advance. Yeah. So the really big, and then if you look at the second tier of sort of graduates that come out, it's a competitive place. It's a competitive marketplace. They're not on super duper money, but it's still very competitive. Yeah, or was very competitive.
Yeah. Is that company still running? Bitsfit are.
Bitsfit are the construction management arm, which we set up, which then morphed into a development company. Still develop blocks and blocks of flats around Fulham, West London, Chelsea.
Did you intend to set up an Empire Ashley Shipman? I'll answer for you. The answer is no. Okay, good.
No,
good.
I think I would like what I've planned in my life goals. I think I have. But is that right? Like, or just like you should see like my vision. Like it's where I want to be. So this is why I'm making sure you're going to be coming in and scaling it up for me.
No, but you
like I want to. I would like. Is that an ego thing? Is that like
want to have world domination and take over the world.
No, but like
but by the way, there's a large commercial organisation owned or controlled by one person or a group. It also can be classed as an extensive group of states or countries ruled over by a single monarch, oligarch, or a sovereign state.
yeah. So is it empire? Is it an empire? Like, I want to build a legacy. I want to build. Like,
James calls it a grown-up business, doesn't he? Right?
Yeah.
I've heard him say that before, and I think we've had this debate before. What is a lifestyle business and what's a grown-up business?
Yeah.
Like, you know, you can if you are central, if you are the business and you're central to everything that goes on, I would say that's a lifestyle business.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gives you the time, gives you some freedom, gives you some the money to be able to do what you want. At some point, if you want to extract yourself from that, you've got to scale to something a lot bigger to be able to remove yourself from that and have something that has enough value that you can either sell to get an exit or provide you with a revenue source for the foreseeable future.
so
Yeah.
See, it's just like
James could step back from what he's built. You know, he could spend a year at home probably and step back from what he's built.
He couldn't spend more than 5 minutes away from what he's built. He could.
If he
he
wanted
had to
get
get
he had to, he probably could. See, I couldn't. When I was doing what I was doing, I couldn't spend a year away from home because I hadn't, which is why I'm so obsessed now with doing that type of stuff.
Yeah.
I couldn't step away for 5 minutes because I was the bottleneck and everything ran through me.
Whereas now, you could run this place on...
I could walk away from this for a year quite easily.
Yeah.
It probably wouldn't look at the standard that I wanted when I come back. But it would
still be here, Stan.
But it would still be here. Yeah, it would still be here. So yeah, I think that is the difference, isn't it? Lifestyle and empire is or lifestyle and a grown-up business.
Yeah.
But then actually, when you've done it before, so like conversations we've had, for instance, that office space downstairs, that you've got, you will see when you've been through that journey, you'll see things in a different light. So, like James is looking at the agency and potentially the work that would come in the future. But at no point has he thought, right, okay, well, I might need an office with 20 people sitting there, and and this facility and that facility and all of that type of stuff. So I think there's a different element of planning that would come into it.
yeah. There's a book. I don't know if you've got Good to Great, just how to go from good to great, and that really changed my viewpoint because the way he was talking the other day was like we need X. Like when he was planning out what's needed and required to get to there. They just brought that book back, and then I was just like, yeah, it's. Like, have you ever read it? Good to Great.
No.
Have you done?
No, I haven't. I've heard good things though.
Yeah, no, because he's basically saying how to go from being good to being great. Because if you're good, you can't be great.
Yeah.
You get business. We get stuck, a lot of people get stuck in a cycle. Like you'll get to a certain point, 10, 15 clients, you'll have a decent enough revenue that provides you a style of life, and then you'll stay there. And you just keep doing the same.
You get content.
You'll be busy with doing the work, so you'll be really busy doing the work.
He's not talking to me. He's talking at me now.
But you'll be stuck in.
You create a well-paid job.
You'll have 6 good months and 6 months where you're struggling to pay salaries, and that is the majority of most small businesses, I think.
And then people like, I've been there, so you sort of just run the cycle of it. Like it's, and sometimes you just. That's what I was saying yesterday. I'm at the point now where you extracted me from the business. Now, how do I go there? I think I never was finding the avenues until I stepped back because I was so busying myself. Now I can see the viewpoint. You look back, it's like, how do you get there?
Also, so it's really easy to do what you've always done. So, for example, we were talking about like with the agency offering. Obviously, at the moment, we've sort of revealed last week that my podcast agency has now been rolled up. We sort of merged that with what we're doing with Infonic. I've never done anything other than bootstrap businesses to get them to move forwards. I've never taken outside money, ever. So then when we're looking at it and we're sitting and we're going, well, actually, do you know what? If we want to scale this fast, we've got the client base kind of there ready for us to put the offering on the table. But really, if we want to do that, it needs 7 members of staff, it needs office space, and it needs £250,000 to fund year one. You either bootstrap it, you bring in one person at a time, or you bring in 7 people, you get £250,000, bring in 7 people, bosh, you're off to the races. That's just completely different. It's an alien way of thinking to me. But as I'm walking, like when we walked downstairs, I'm like, I can see what this could become. If I left to my own devices, I probably, in all honesty, wouldn't have the gumption to go and do it myself, because I wouldn't know the tripping up points. I would feel like I'd need someone to hold my hand. So that's why I'm holding Paul's hand all day.
But it's just because you haven't done it before.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's like you need to understand who the investors are, and because that investor is an actual investor, it's a different story. It's like people offer me money all the time. Like someone said that, like, can I just invest 50 grand into you? This was like, I said no. I said no. To be honest, I said how much is there?
It's funny, people are always trying to get me to give them money.
and they was like, why? But you're not confident. You know. I said, how much money have you got? And they told me the figure. I said, the reason I wouldn't take it off you because you would be on my back.
Yeah.
Because that's
hurt money.
That's hurt money. And the thing is I know that from experience because I've invested a lot and lost money and it hurt. And what will happen is you have to find the right investor when moving forward, because if you've got an investor on your back that's nervous about your decisions, because things don't always stick to the plan. You have to pivot, and if it's hurt money, they're gonna what Jason was saying, you're gonna make bad decisions because you've got external pressure, external bad pressure, and then that's and I see it a lot. People jump to gun very, very fast. So like ring your friends and family, try to get money. Someone takes to get some investment from family members, like I don't know, let's say 10, 15 grand. That's all that person had. So you need to be careful when you are looking for investors. Like the investor that's looking around Phonic, like it's probably large money.
But also people underestimate how much money they actually need as well. That's the biggest. I'm in my first ever investment I got from somebody. It was a family member. It's £30,000. That wasn't a drop in the ocean. Like
Yeah.
Thinking about it, it was not a drop. And at the time when he was earning, you've come from a career where you earn £28,000 a year. £30,000 seems like a lot of money.
Yeah, of course.
And the burn rate and the way it was working, it wasn't a lot at all.
Yeah.
And that was the, like we done it. We started plotting out the other day how much, if we was going to jump quite quickly and go to, have X amount of staff actually physically in an office, how much that would cost. And
scary what the actual figure is.
Yeah, when you actually start, there's stuff you don't take into account. You didn't take into account when we was doing it. You need IT equipment, you need furniture.
Yeah, all of a sudden we had 28,000 worth of computers I hadn't accounted for. Oh, sure, yeah, you definitely.
That would be on seats, but
it's the software that goes on the computers.
Yeah,
it just keeps layering, and a lot of people don't realise that, so therefore they get caught out and they take money from an investor. They don't have enough. They've got to go back cap in hand back again. We didn't have enough money.
Yeah, which my pals were on Dragon's Den last night, and Peter Jones didn't give an investment for exactly that reason. He said, look, what you're trying to build is a delivery app. So what you're trying to build, you're saying 50 grand, and there's reasons behind the reason why they asked 50 grand, you have to stick with your initial thing that you pitched the TV company for, and it's all for good TV. He's like, that will go in a week. So with what you're building in a software-based business, in a tech-based business, in a competitive marketplace, that will not even last a week.
He said you need to be prepared to make loss after loss.
Yeah, for years and years.
And then he asked for the rollout figure. He's like, what's
it actually going to cost?
And then
it's like 15 million. And he's like, well, why are you here asking for 50 grand?
Yeah.
For publicity, not sure. But you're right. It's like even silly things like that. Like looking at the 7 staff that we would need, and these are like just headline people that would need to run that particular part of the process for us. There's probably another couple of people needed really on top of that. There's probably, and like I say, you don't account for computers and software and desks.
And this is the thing as well. You would have I think this goes from lifestyle business to grown-up business, because you would have probably continued to build that with outsourcers. And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with outsourcers, by the way. They fill a purpose at the right time for the right role. but you would probably continue to build that with outside resource as opposed to saying, okay, we need a team in house that we can control.
Yeah, definitely. Because even like with the team that we've got, a couple of them are outsourced, and one of them is full time here in the UK, and that was a much bigger decision to take that person on because the salary is like 4 times or whatever. But just that the mentality of like, okay, so now we've got to do PAYE, pensions, national insurance, and that stuff. It is definitely it's a jump in. It's a jump in what you've done before.
I tried venturing down the outsourcing route when I was with Paul, and I was like, it's something about the way. But what's good is that you're comfortable with that. I'm comfortable with the people. It's just like I have to be, even though like I've stepped away, I still have to know that they're like a phone call away.
You can go into the office and sat at the desk.
Yeah. Like that, but that's all I've ever known. Like, I didn't know, to be honest, I didn't even know of the world of VAs last year.
But I can already know, knowing you relatively well, you haven't got the patience to work with an external outsourcer or VA. You just have not got the patience because it takes time to get them educated to some extent to get them to do what you do. Whereas you're like, well, you're a VA, you do your job. Well, what is that?
I remember when we was talking about it. He was like, right, so you got to do this, and I was like, well, I've got to do employee site tomorrow. I was like, I'm going to go back to the. But then the thing is,
you've probably got. And I'm not slagging you off. Yeah. Well, I am actually in front of 150 people, but you're probably the same with staff. You put a staff on a chair. I've done it for years. You put a staff member on a chair. You put a computer on there with a bit of software. You might have a little bit of an employee book, and that's it. You'd expect them to start immediately on day one when they land. Like that's it. Sit down, get to work.
I went through that, and I kept thinking that these people are just shit.
Yeah,
and I did. I used to just go like, mate, what? Don't you get it? But like,
the answer is no. But you told me how to get it.
But then the thing is, it was like then that was like even like simple things. I remember like Paul when he said, "Sit down." For about a month, I got every single person to like write down everything they did, just like literally everything. And then I got like it all compiled because then it was like I remember like, mate, I'm really having trouble with this Paul, and I remember he was like, mate, it's not them. And I was like, well, they are, because they're shit. He was like, it's you.
There's definitely someone shit in that business. Unfortunately, he sat right.
and then you hear on here like the fish things went down. But there's me thinking, I just can't find the quality people, mate. Just can't find. But he was letting me walk down this garden path. Like, he's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? And I'm walking into the corner. And he was like, right, do you want to know what the problem is? And I was like, I think this is an issue.
A kitchen fit can't fit a kitchen plan, can it?
No, I remember being walked down that garden path.
So why can an employee do their job without anyone telling them what to do, or showing them?
Don't they understand sweet rock and roll?
No,
do your thing.
Just do it. Yeah, no, it doesn't work.
Pick up that phone, sell some stuff.
But now I look back and I think I've really lost some quality people because of my actions.
Probably. Almost guaranteed that's the case.
Yeah,
at some point.
Because they were frustrating me because they didn't know what to do without being told what to do. Like they was meant to.
But frustrating you.
Effective communication is like the biggest skill an entrepreneur can work on. Being able to, because the other thing as well that you don't realise is you've got a vision in your head for what you want to do, and most of the time 90% of the people that work for you will not know what that vision is because you've not told them, or you've not shared it with them in a way. It's why big tech companies, Apple started it, didn't they? But they started doing sort of, I don't know, twice annually huge seminars where all the staff would come and fill a big theatre and be, a big presentation would go on it, be streamed globally and stuff like that. It's all around getting everybody, all the company aligned on the vision and working in the same direction. But most business owners, because we get stuck in that cycle, very busy, stuck in the cycle.
Forget the basics.
Yeah, you're so worried about either delivering the product or service or keeping the client happy. Team of people that you have working for you, which are your most valuable resource, really. you neglect. I'm guilty of it. You neglect them because you're so busy doing other things, and you think that they know the information that they're supposed to know, and 90% of the time they don't. They definitely don't.
I have that every day at the moment.
No, but you
Excuse me.
Like the things you forget, you just forget fundamentals. You forget basics. It's like when I used to have a job, like back in the day, I used to always refresh. Like now, I think back, like to like you said Apple do. Our company used to do it, but nothing on that scale. You used to just go back, realign everyone if there was movements, and you just all knew. You all knew what you was going for. Like you knew, like. I remember the first company that I worked at, like you was really made aware that the company has been running in the red for about 15 years because it was new to the UK. So it was an American firm, and you got told we want to get this by 2021, 2000, whatever the date was, and then everyone knew the company. When it came down to bonuses, you realised why your bonuses weren't like matched with other management firms, because you knew the company was running in the red. So you actually sort of appreciate sometimes what they gave you.
But when you experience that with a company that's been there for a long while, and the way they do stuff is set in stone because it's been done over many years. But when you're building that business on your own, nobody tells you that that's what you're supposed to do. Like I remember with me, I had a really important member of staff leave, and I sat down with them and tried to convince them to stay. And I was, why are you leaving? Can I ask why you're leaving? And they felt that it was a bit of a dead end role. They didn't feel like there was any progression, but they had no idea, because I hadn't communicated with them the future projects that we were speaking to people about, or the order book that we'd already signed that hadn't happened, that was supposed to happen the following year. They had no idea of all of that because it was all inside my head. I was so busy running around doing stuff, I hadn't communicated that with anybody. So then I started hire a bit. You know, it was only for the London team. Then with Skype, it was Skype at the time, but with Skype in everybody else that was. But we started doing meetings, or we'd hire a nice conference room somewhere, and everybody would come in sort of theatre style, and I'd stand up there, most thing I'd ever done, because it was the first time I ever spoke publicly to anybody. But I'd stand up there with a bit of a PowerPoint that I'd put together with all of the future projects that we'd won, stuff that we was talking about in the pipeline, areas of new business that we wanted to go into, and all of a sudden you could feel the energy raise. Like the day after doing that, you would feel the energy raise in the office because everybody
doing like mini town halls.
Basically, but nobody told me that was what you should do. I just wanted to.
How did you come up with that?
Well, was you looking at your phone or was you listening?
I was listening and looking at my phone.
I had a staff member.
Leave.
Yeah, and when I sat down and spoke to them about why he was leaving, I took them out for lunch and tried to convince them.
They thought it was a dead end roll. Yeah. So how did you get to a town hall?
Well, I thought when I was sitting there saying to this guy, trying to explain to this guy,
that's the issue.
Why it wasn't a dead end roll, all the stuff that we had planned for the future and what we was doing, he had no idea that was the case. No idea. He said, if I've already, and it basically he left. He'd already accepted a job with somebody else, signed a contract. So he said, if I'd known that information, I probably wouldn't have made the decision to leave. So that said to me, I need to tell people.
So I'll revert back to my original question. How did you get from that to going from a town hall? Because you had a one-to-one conversation with the guy.
I thought I need to tell everybody that works for me what's going on.
Have you not seen how? So when we worked out our vision, have you not seen how quick I can literally piss Paul off? Like when we.
I seems like I could do it quicker this morning.
So what I'm saying is, when we worked out where we're going, and then I bring an opportunity that's going to take us down the rabbit hole that's irrelevant.
Guys, can we do a Zoom? This guy's going to the film.
and
guys, this guy's going to give us some equity in an app.
Paul's like, I know the breath, and I know what's coming. So this is going back to the vision, back to where we're going, back to this. And I'm thinking, I know what you're going to say. Please just don't say it again and again and again. No, I'm going to have to put it in your head. Because what you're doing is you are reminding me, because obviously
there's two guys that have come before you, right? And I won't say their names, but they formed my business development team. Biggest mistake I ever made in my life. I thought I've got a business development team to find new business, and these guys can go out there and do what they do. So I found these two rogues, and they were rogues. They were like proper charlatans. I didn't know that at the time because they talked a good game, but they lived their life. Anybody who's been around for a while will know this type of personality. But they lived their life in private members clubs in Mayfair, bouncing around between people. They had, a decent network of people that they knew, and spent time trying to match people with people. Right, and I was naive enough to think, well, if I get them on the payroll, they'll just be working for me, and they'll just be.
You said this.
They'll just be working for me. So I got these two guys, and their job was to go and find new business. Well, I've done a tour of the world thanks to these guys, and nothing came of it. And so my, it was like, oh, we've got an opportunity, but you've got to go to QA. Okay. And I was, at the time, I was the sort of personality, I'd go, yeah, all right. So I'd phone my PA and say, I need to get to QA tomorrow. They're like, okay, there's a flight at 10:50 tonight. Okay, I'm on it. That was how quickly I'd make the decision to go to Kuwait for a meeting, or go to Dubai for a meeting, or go to Pakistan for a meeting, just to meet one of these high net worth clients who was thinking about doing a major property development or something like that. And most of the time, the opportunities that they brought to the table were not qualified enough. In hindsight, it's a wonderful thing, but looking back, there was no way I should have gotten on a plane to go to Kuwait, because
is this the guy who ended up with you in the desert?
Shh.
Is that the guy though?
That's the story.
Okay.
That's where you go with Jack. Yeah.
You like, we were going to meet another business development guy.
Oh, so two
who was talking to
mirrors.
another big business development guy who was talking to someone else, and they all gave off a good game. And it was just
someone else's dime in someone else's private members.
Yeah, my harshness towards you, Ashley, is not you. It's not you. It's girlfriend, isn't it? It's not you. It's me.
I'm not even questioning it, because what you're doing is just like, as you know, I get so much stuff thrown at me, and then that, like, it's like it always goes back to, like, if you like. Every time I said it, like, you want to shine like a diamond, you got to get cut like a diamond, and that is what Paul does. Paul has chainsaws, just like trimming me down, kicking me in the right direction. It's to stay focused, and I think when people become self-aware of when they do get a lot of distractions, someone's actually saying, "No, mate, get back on where we're meant to be going," it's actually quite refreshing. And I think a lot of people can take the conversations that sometimes will.
Well, you could be guilty of bouncing about. That's for years. I bounced around these two guys, exploring opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. When I think back, we were designers of luxury hotel or luxury residential properties. That was our bread and butter stuff. We built extremely large houses for people that afford to build them, or to buy one and then refurbish one. And I'd sit in meetings about how we're going to build a multi-storey car park, but that's completely irrelevant to our core business model. Why are we building but I never would qualify that beforehand. So I'd be like, come and meet this guy. He's got a big project. Okay, you go and meet this guy, assuming that the business development guys had done their due diligence or their work, to sit down for the guy to say, I want to build 10 car parks.
Your experience now.
So in that, because that wasn't your core thing at that point in time when you're sort of growing a business.
No, but we would continue to explore the conversation.
Right.
And we would continue to waste.
That's not what we do.
3 or 4 months only for them to go to a firm that designs car parks or builds car parks.
Yeah.
So it would waste. I wasted so much time down that path, exploring opportunities that were not really. And if you were strict to your values and said, "This is what we do. This is our core concept. This is how we do it," and that's the work that we're looking for.
But now, when things come to me, if I think, like, okay, it could be a little bit of opportunity, I just come to you and you go, right, this is coming on my list, and you go, ask X, Y, and Z, and then you're like, if this answer, don't take it any further. But that comes from the experience.
Yeah.
So when I speak to someone, and I'm like, there's like, ask this question. If you get any of these answers, if anything other than a no or a yes, end that conversation. And what it does, it now saves my time. Like it now saves a lot of my time, because I just would.
Well, you've probably had a conversation with people on podcasts. How many people have got on the call to you podcast? And have never. First of all, the first question you should be asking them: have you got budget to launch a podcast with an agency, or are you going to buy your own mic, mixer, bootstrap it, do it yourself? Like, what's the two options? Obviously, be a bit more polite than that. 'Cause it's potentially a client. But that's what it boils down to, doesn't it? It's otherwise you'll lose an hour of your time to somebody to go, no, I haven't got the budget for that. I'll just do it. I'll do it on my own. Hour of time you're never going to get back in life.
I've ended up on a few of those calls. James Sinclair up there, by the way. We just had a double tick. So
not blue yet.
Still not blue.
He does know we finish at 9, doesn't he?
He does know that. He'll be good for it. He'll probably rock up with some ice cream at 5 to 9 or something. We'll still love him for it because he'll bring us some treats or some teddy bears or something.
Or some bloom making.
Turn up with a bloom for us. Interesting. You're not going to get those opportunities anymore, though, are you? With your new branding, people are going to know exactly what you're doing, exactly what you don't do.
Yeah, well,
Ash, Jim said to me, I met Jim, we said, no, something could do driveways. What's your answer?
Yeah, not for me, mate. I don't even know anyone that will do this way. I'll bring opportunities.
I was looking for the answer of no, but okay, sure.
Yeah, no, I'm still seeing the opportunity. I'm still seeing the opportunity.
You got budget for a driveway?
No, I want this. So if you're ever going to call me again, don't call me with that.
No, but you know what? There's nothing wrong with exploring new opportunity if the one thing that you do is working so well that it doesn't need you and it's going to continue to do what it does. So if you've got business model 1 or business number 1 or service number 1 and it's working and it's providing a constant revenue and it's just ticking over and you've extracted yourself from that, you don't need to deliver that service and it's just doing what it does and it's providing you with a revenue source. Then explore other opportunities or look to add another product or service onto the first product or service. But don't get, most people will go halfway into the first business or the first thing, then get the next opportunity, take all of their attention away from the one thing that's bringing them into revenue or an income, go on to opportunity number 2. And what happens? Money stops coming in because opportunity 1 falls over because they're not focusing on it. Nobody's focusing on it. You're all focusing on the next thing. And then you get halfway through that, move on to the next one. And that is that shiny penny syndrome, isn't it? Do it halfway, get invest a bit of money into it, get halfway into it, decide it's not for you or it's not working because you haven't quite sussed it yet, and focus on doing something else.
I done the step further back in the day not back there, a couple of years ago, when I got to a position where I was quite comfortable. I started exploring opportunities and then just started investing into everything. Yeah, and what happened?
Finally, like Monopoly.
And then what happened? It actually put everything down because then what I was doing was thinking, I got free time. Now I've got no free time because I'm now trying. I've invested into things in 1,000 different industries. None of them correlate. None of them are working.
Doesn't fold into the empire.
Doesn't fold into the empire. And what was happening? Then I was having to bankroll from the thing that was working.
The things that weren't.
The things that weren't, and then all of a sudden, like, if you've been in that spiral, you've been in a spiral, and when it's going in not your favour, how quick it goes that route. And it's like when it's either way. So if you're scaling and you know you're doing the right thing, it can spiral into the good way. But if you're going, if you're on the bad side of the tide, it
turns against you very quick.
very, very quick. But you don't see it, and that's it. So when if it doesn't fold into the empire, like, it's scary how quick you can go from something to nothing. And I think when you can always see and understand when someone's done that because they get more cautious. I don't think I was hurt enough, but
pretty sure learned the lesson a bit earlier. To be fair, you still got time. How old are you? You 28, 29, 30, 28, 29.
29.
29.
I was 29 EMC.
Yeah, I knew it was your birthday, but I can't remember.
Yeah, so 29, yeah. Just, I
a full 10 years younger than us.
I imagine.
An uphill paper round. Grey hairs.
Full decade.
When are you 40? This year? Next year.
I still say 28. Please say I'm 28. But I've got to live to the fact that I'm 30 this year.
Oh, I would shut up if I was you. I would literally shut your mouth if I was you.
Apparently it all goes downhill from 30.
You're right.
That's what they say, yeah. That's what they say. So we play a little reset and then come back and have a chat to some of our friends while we
might be building their own empires.
James Sinclair, where he is.
We'll get Jimbo updates. If anyone's on the A13 and the A12, a Range Rover Sport driving quite quickly, it's probably Jim on the way having woke up at 7:03.
Is he bringing his infamous video guy?
Yeah, Chuds is coming.
Oh, okay. We better get another stall in here or something.
Yeah, Chuds loves it. He's a good guy, Chuds. We like Chuds. Go on then, play a jingle.
You are listening to Breakfast with Winners, exclusive content direct from the Winners Club. If you are enjoying the conversation, click on the Monopoly House at the top of the screen right now and join the thousands of winners already in our community. For even more actionable content and powerful lessons, download the free companion app now. Just search for the Winners Club in the App Store or Google Play. For more information about the Winners Club and how to become part of our growing community, head to thewinnersclub.club. Now, back to the show.
So, good morning if you're just joining us. This is Breakfast with Winners. We are live if you're listening to us on Clubhouse. If you're listening to us via our app, you can catch up on all of our content. And if you are actually watching live from Clubhouse, you can click on the link at the top of the room. You can watch us on YouTube as well. We've got James Sinclair, friend of the show, who's coming in. Who actually, we're going to get the gossip because he was James had just walked out of the room, but he was James' boss, wasn't he? I know. And James is no longer working with him, so there's obviously a reason for that. So we'll put them both under the cosh a little bit and find out why that is. It's a common theme, isn't it, of James getting sacked? First from the radio. And,
he's probably still listening, or he could like that.
I reckon he's still listening, cringing. So we'll find out the reason why James got sacked from James Sinclair when he comes into the building in a little while. Right, we'd love to get your thoughts. Who's changed their outlook in 2022? Who changed your outlook because of Clubhouse, really? You thought you was building a lifestyle business and you've made the conscious effort to take it to the next level and find those new devils and push through the boundaries that you already had set in place. So we'd love to get some shares from people that are here on the stage with us in Clubhouse. So flash of microphones. Actually, keep an eye out for people that are
Jen.
Minds. Jennifer Louise, J-Lo. Hello, how are you? Good morning.
How are you lot? I've been a bit late to the room for the last couple of days. My massive apologies.
That's right, we won't judge you.
She has trouble getting up. I remember when I first started in the room, like literally, I'd have to no worries, I'll see you at 6:30.
Yeah. The thing is, I have a puppy now, so that thing's going up at 4 a.m. and then I'm dozing back on the sofa and missing you guys. But I'm here. My outlook has literally just changed in the last week, and I can't say exactly what I'm up to because it's hush top secret at the moment. But I am about to blow my entire business up, and dominate my area, dominate the industry. I had a conversation with Rob Moore about how do I be disruptive and how do I really change stuff, and he gave me some advice, and then I've gone away and done other various courses and things. And this question has just been running around in my head for about 2 years. As I shared with you guys, the industry's imploded. Salon owners don't charge their worth. Money's really low. So for those of you that are listening that haven't heard me before, I own a hairdressing salon, a bricks and mortar business and a hairdressing coaching company. But we've also got the challenge of the Great Resignation, where pretty much 50% of the industry went, excuse my French, I'm not working for low wage anymore. I'm not working all the hours God sends. I don't want the pressure of sales targets on my head. I'm not a salesman. And pretty much most of the people walked and went self-employed or doing hair from home. Then we had maternity, like 50% of our team then left for maternity after the pandemic. So they're all just about to start coming back into the business now. I think I know I have found the answer, and I am about to blow the place up. There's lots of coaching, lots of training that is needed, lots of bollocks by me going to be needed here. I'm really, really excited, but it means I have to pull myself out of the coaching company a little bit and just fully focus for the next 6 months on the salon, because it's going to really need a bit of hand-holding and a bit of support. So I want to just say a massive thank you to you guys, because you guys have played a massive part in that. Ashley's, he knows what I'm talking about. He's going to be helping for a part of what we're about to do. And yeah, just that mindset shift from being on Clubhouse every single day, listening to your conversations, listening to other people share, knowing that there is a different way, a better way out there, but I just needed to find that way, and I found it. So I'm very excited.
I'm more interested to find out how 50% of your staff got pregnant at the same time to go off on maternity leave all at the same time.
COVID babies, wasn't it? It was a massive spike, wasn't it? COVID.
Yeah. So 96% of our industry are women. And obviously in lockdown, those that wanted children, those that didn't bought a puppy. Yeah.
You ever bought a puppy or had 2 minutes of fun?
Yeah, exactly. And I think in the industry as well, because if you leave to go and have a baby, you lose your clientele. So it's very difficult for a woman to make the decision in our industry to go off and have a baby. Because the intimate relationship in a start, because they're not huge businesses, means that you feel like you're letting the boss down, you feel like you're letting your team down, you feel like you're letting your customers down. So you put off having a baby. Those that have got big columns anyway. So yeah, it gave them the freedom. I think everybody lived their lives, didn't they? And went, what do I actually want? And went and got it. So yeah, 50% of my team went pregnant.
Wow, good for you. I wish you well in what you're doing, and yeah, good for you. Right, guys. Before we don't know how long we can keep these shares going on because we're expecting a guest, but we've got no idea when he's going to turn up or if he's going to turn up. But we're hoping he does. So who wants to jump in? Flash your mics. If you let me scroll down. We'll go Elliot, and then we'll go Sarah. Elliot, good morning, mate.
Good morning, guys. It's, I haven't spoken as much as I should do so far this year. Even Ashley was surprised. I said it was the first day the other day. But good morning to everybody. It's going to be a great morning. Got lots going on. Very, very different to last year, Paul, where I was talking about the VA space, and I got into that, and I was spoken about very openly. I learned 80% how not to get involved in the VA business. And that's to getting into coaching, but as a byproduct of what happened, because I had to educate or try and understand where people needed the help to be able to, advise them what VAs and get the right VAs in. Oh my God, it became an absolute nightmare. Most solopreneurs and business owners, as you were talking about with Ashley earlier on, they expect people to just be able to take on roles and be able to just do the work straight away. And unfortunately, there aren't superhuman strengths involved when it gets to a VA that can suddenly do all these things without, as you said, Paul, without having to sort of work with them as an employee. It takes a month or maybe even 2 months sometimes to get that employee up to speed. So in doing that, the mapping thing came out because it was a great way of getting something to visualize something. That then progressed, and actually what I did is I basically reduced everything with the VAs. I had the wrong VAs doing the wrong type of work, the wrong entrepreneurs with the wrong VAs, and this happens a lot in this industry. I've learned a huge amount about it, so much so that this year now I'm going to be helping and partnering with somebody to actually build out a platform that is going to train VAs, give them training and certification, and then they'll be able to put themselves on the platform and business owners will be able to go on there. They can get training or they can get the skills from a VA as well. So a little bit like Upwork and Fiverr, but I believe it's time that we can do something slightly better that will work really well. So that is cool. That was completely pushing myself right into that space last year. And of course, out of that has then become what I'm now doing, which is the clarity coaching, which I can't believe that was something I was ever going to do. In fact, I didn't want to do coaching at all. But because people are coming to me for advice and I needed to create something, I've now got a way for people to visualize things. So mind mapping things out. Again, something I hadn't even realized was a thing. Something I created last year off the back of a couple of looking at a few things here and there and understanding how we could sort of map things out to help people to get things out of their mind. And so the whole thing has changed. I mean, what a completely different way. However, that's what Clubhouse has done. It gave me clarity last year. 2017, I came out of running a business that we took to multi-millions in the video games industry, I came out away from that to be able to build my own thing. And it took me 2 or 3 years to really even understand how the hell I was going to get a service-based business when I've been into that. Now, a bit ADHD, sometimes you do jump on things like I did with the VA stuff last year and probably went down the wrong path a little bit too far. However, again, the most painful lessons are the ones that stay with you. So it's taught me stuff that I don't think many people would learn getting into that industry if you just built up a agency with 1 or 2 or 3 VAs. So I learned the hard way. It's given me some of the best lessons. The bit missing from me about delegating, I know you spoke about this so much, Paul, last year with regards to building teams and things like that, and I spoke about the right and wrong things because I was learning at the time and I could speak about it very openly. So one bit that I had missing from my, let's say, my CV, where I've helped build businesses, I know lots and lots of, I've got a huge amount of knowledge in my head. I hadn't really fully understood the ramifications of delegating to the wrong people, outsourcing to the wrong people. And those things are lessons that will never leave me. I now can help people to understand why they need educating, why they need to be clear on things. So Clubhouse, again, as I've said before, has allowed me to crowdsource so much information that actually get me on the right path. And it's thanks to being in, this room part, this doing ridiculous amounts of hours on Clubhouse, good and bad at times, but you guys and you, Paul, have said a lot of things that resonate with me over time. So I want to thank you and the whole community for all the support and stuff as well. And I'm very, very excited. I genuinely feel like I'm in the right place, doing the right things with the right people, the right partners. I'm in flow, for God's sake. How can I believe I'm saying that?
Awesome stuff. I was going to see the reaction there. I was like, if he talks about flow, we were having some technical challenges.
Whoa, that was weird.
That was weird. Yeah, flow. I like it.
I thought I had some mushrooms this morning.
I wonder.
You broke the flow.
What have I told you about double dropping? Right. Okay. Sarah. Oh, okay. Right. Good news, guys. There's a James Sinclair update is coming in live to the studio. It looks like it is. I've seen on the Insta story that it is in a car, and now I think that car is outside the gate. So Ashley Shipman's going to have to take over the conversation. You sit there, Ash. I'll go and do this because I need to pick up the phone quickly. Sarah, you are next. Go on, my friend. We're having some technical issues with YouTube at the same time. Go for it.
Okay, so I think definitely this room has completely changed the way I think, and because of that, I mean, I'm and build up some great relationships. And now, basically, we're at a point where we're building that so that we can duplicate our training academy rather than our beauty art salons anymore. Because I know how to do that, but I really didn't know the training side. And step out and look at how other businesses are run. And like Jennifer Louise, I'm doing something along the lines of Jennifer at the moment. We've been talking quite a lot about things that we want to change within the industry and make it so that it's looked at completely different. I think one of the things with the hair and beauty sector is
you can watch the video, but mute the video and listen on Clubhouse. And if you think, well, that's too much effort, maybe just get your laptop and watch the YouTube on your laptop, listen to Clubhouse on your phone, and if you've got any other mates, get them to come and do the same.
We make it as easy as possible for you. That's what we do. We make it as easy as possible.
We like to make it lovely.
sweet.
It is
Take
sweet.
them steps.
Sweet. Right. Did it. We are talking about building an empire. If you have, I love the question that Paul framed a minute ago. Have you had a change in mentality in the last year? Maybe Clubhouse has been the instigator of changing your mentality. So very thorough. Very thorough. Get right to them corners by the sounds of it.
So we've built we coach bookkeepers. We've built a program. It's gone really well in the UK, and we're getting a lot of traction. And I take on board a lot of what you've been saying about like growing a team. We're definitely at the point we need to hire a community manager and things like that.
content to the right region rather than doing different content to different. As I say, Matt, I would be touching base with Matt Wilson. That's any marketing step. My first step is to talk to Matt.
Perfect. I will do that, definitely. I think I've resisted Facebook ads because organic growth doing great here because we've been bringing people in who really buy what we do. But I think you're right. We probably need to do that. And people, I think people like what we do because they like the community and the relationship I have with Joe, who I work with. They like the way we bounce off of each other. So actually, that needs to be the same. It's just getting in front of the right people. Thank you so much.
100%. And also, like you say, if there's the fundamentals of growing a business, and it doesn't matter whether you're growing a bookkeeping business or you're growing, a social media agency or you're growing, a corner shop, the fundamentals, some of the real fundamentals of building a business, knowing your numbers, understanding who your client profile is, and all that kind of stuff, that will be generically fitting. So I'd be maybe if you're looking to go down the paid ad route, pick some of the content that is really generically fitting globally, that couldn't be culturally misunderstood, that isn't going to be an implication in tax regulations in different states and all that kind of stuff. Do the generic stuff, because like I say, I think part of the beauty of what you've got, certainly from the content that I've seen, is that relationship, is that community, is the fact that it feels very friendly, it feels very inclusive, what you guys have built, and people are buying into the community, not just the information. So you've got to make sure whatever you're doing, that content gets out. I tell you, the other thing that would be worth looking at, I would say, for you guys would be podcast advertising. It's really still very cheap to advertise on podcasts. And obviously you're in a niche. Could you get in front of any accountancy based podcast in Kazakhstan? I don't know why I'm so obsessed with Kazakhstan this morning. Damn. But there's probably there will be an agency out there. And again, the beautiful thing at the moment is, and I'm the same as you, I rinse the organic content as far as possible. But then there will be a point where you do need to put some money behind some ads. And the great thing with it is, you can literally target the geography and say, right, spend a tenner a day for 30 days. So for 300 quid, you can test and measure, did it work, yes or no? Now, what part of it did or didn't work? Same with the podcast ads. I bet, as I say, you could find an agency for under 500 quid. You could get onto 5 of the biggest podcasts in a particular geography around the niche of bookkeeping. That'd be a really good thing to do.
Great shout. I will look at that. We've actually got a sponsor for our podcast. I hadn't thought of it the other way around, so I will look into that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. It works really well. So Acast have got a sponsor network, so you can look at Acast for sponsoring other people's podcasts. There's another platform called DAX, DAX, which is owned by Global Radio here in the UK. I'm not sure if they do international podcasts. They probably do because they're an international company, to be fair. But yeah, have a look at those platforms in terms of advertising. Or obviously, the other thing that you could do is look in, for example, if you... Yeah, here's another... God, I am full of good ideas today, guys. Over caffeinated and high on life. So you could go onto a platform called chartable.com, and you could go to, say, you could look at iTunes and Spotify charts from around the world. So let's say you could go into... you could search for the word accountancy, and you could look at accountancy and see... You can do it by geography. So, for example, Canada is a big area of interest for you. You could look at the top accountancy podcasts in Canada and directly reach out to those guys. Because again, a lot of people are probably in a situation like most podcasters. They're making the content because it helps to, increase their reach, their visibility, their brand recognition, etc. They're probably not, by and large, monetizing their content. So even if you said, "Look, I'd love to sponsor," what would it cost me to sponsor for a month and do some direct outreach to just the biggest podcast in your exact niche in those geographies you're specifically interested in? That could be a good way to go. So yeah, chartable.com, that is.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that.
Awesome. No worries. Thank you for being here. Good luck with your global domination. Right, let's go to Jenny. Horsey Jen. That's my impression of a horse. Hope you enjoyed that. How do you like that? Pretty good, right?
James, I absolutely just look forward to how you're going to introduce me each time. I'm loving it. That is amazing.
Get up there.
Can we hear it again? It's like being in a stable. It's uncanny.
Just like to make you feel comfortable. Come on, so have you had a change of mentality? Have you gone from lifestyle business to global domination?
Yes and no. So yeah, I definitely have. had a change of mentality, and actually it has been due to meeting you guys and listening in here every morning, pretty much. Because actually I went from, and Jen knows this, Jennifer Louise, she and I were doing something together that was quite kind of, it was really useful. It was loads of great stuff, but it was quite kind of salesy.
Sorry, the
went a bit
robots are in
weird
the
then.
desk again.
Oh, okay. And it was quite kind of like, you've got to get sales and you've got to drive and you've got to do this and you've got to do that. And it was quite, sorry guys to say this, but it was quite testosterone-y. And it didn't really fit with me, but it was like I learned loads of great stuff and it was brilliant. But what's happened since I've been hearing about Clubhouse and the way that you guys don't allow pitching in the rooms, because that's what originally put me off Clubhouse to begin with, they were just like such pitching rooms, I hated it, it's all about community. And actually just following on from the person we had before, whose name I can't... Zoe, that's the lady, yes. Community is really the way forward, and that's really changed the way that I'm doing business now and has been incredible, because my question to myself all the time is, how does this serve my community? And that change in focus, that shift has been huge, which is now heading me for global domination, which is, why I laugh. But yeah, like, how do I serve my community is my first question now, rather than how do I get sale out of this? And that shift in mindset has been huge, because it's just opened up to doing things a different way, a way that really aligns much more with my values, a way that my community, funnily enough, are appreciating. It's much more now about serving rather than selling, but the sales are coming through faster than they ever have. And I'm loving it. But that's come because of you guys and come because of the way that you serve the community and leading by example and hearing all of that kind of stuff that's meant I can learn it. So yeah, that's been my shift, really, that I just wanted to share. It's a huge one for me.
Awesome stuff. And was the biggest shift that focused from community focus to sales? And it just sort of disaligned with you. The sales side of it just didn't work, and then you focused on the community, and then accidentally was bringing in more revenue. You're like, that's the way to go then.
Yeah. It wasn't so much that it accidentally brought in more. I was hoping it would, but it's funny though, isn't it? Because a lot of the way that I was taught, you have to focus on sales, revenue generating, you have to be giving people links to selling things all the time. I don't have people they don't put a link in anything. Just have links in bios, have links on, link trees, have links on the website, I think. But whenever we're posting now on socials, just put them into the group, and even in the group, don't actually link to anything. And the thing that made me think about that was at EMC, you had people's links if you wanted to go and do them, but they weren't selling from the stage. And so if you wanted to go and check them out, which they will do, and the thing I realised on Clubhouse, when someone's talking, you go check them out. So you have to have the links available, but you don't put it in posts overtly. You don't go, here's this thing, go buy it. You kind of go, here's this thing, it's really interesting, and leave it at that. And then they will go and seek you out, and you get a better client then, don't you? Get a better lead. So that's kind of something that I did, was like, how do I serve them? And then if they love it, they're going to go and look it up. And I don't know if that's a strong, strategy that a lot of people want to use or anything, but for me that works so much better.
No, I like
really.
that. No, I think, like I say, in a world where everyone's like, click the link, use the...
Welcome to come and ride anytime. But I think we could do a broadcast. It could be very interesting.
Oh my God, he's actually got pictures of him on a horse. Is that you on a horse?
Yeah. When I was younger and I didn't have a car, and a few of my pals had horses. I was like, come, let's get out on horses.
Is that actually you?
Yeah, when I was younger, yeah. Like literally, because a few of my pals had horses, and we'd actually...
Did they race them down the streets?
Because we used to always get our, like, little quad bikes and our motorbikes taken off. The police used to always confiscate our stuff. So
they're always confiscating illegal goods, aren't they?
Yeah, so we
frustrating.
In the end, we found the way to travel. Like, we had horses.
Actually was a cowboy. Oh my God. I'm putting that on social media. Can you send me that? I'll put...
Yeah.
Could you jump? Could you do jumps and stuff?
No.
Fantastic. Right, Jenny, we found out he's got a basic understanding of it. We need to get to go over a jump.
Yeah,
Can we make that happen in one morning session?
Like, I don't know how I'm been on a race, but you got to stick like your heels in the thing, your back up, and then you got to gallop with it.
Wow, I don't know what you were doing there. You look like you were trying to take off.
Because I remember being told how to ride the horse. And in the end, we just got the cart on the back, and we used to just go around on there.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
A lot easier, and you can have 3 of your pals with you. So
yeah, brilliant. Right, so we're gonna make. Where are you based, Jenny?
Actually, I'm not that far away. I'm in Surrey. I'm Guildford. So
Oh my
come on
good
down.
God! We are
Come
going
on
to do it.
down.
We're going to do Clubhouse live from Jenny's stables.
Well, my daughter wants.
We can do it as part of our UK tour that we're doing.
Yes.
Charlotte wants to get Ariana into horse riding, and anyone in horse riding is just like, are you prepared to have no money around you if you want to get your kids into horses? Because apparently they are
expensive,
very expensive. And
I've got a mate who's got like 4 or 5 of them, and they absolutely like their whole life revolves around these horses. But they love it. They absolutely love it. All the girls ride the horses. He's got 3 little girls. They'll ride the horses. The dog goes down to the stable. His wife is like a super duper trainer of horses or something. It's a lovely lifestyle. I do believe our guest may be here at 8:09. So I'm going to go and let him in the gate. I'm going to carry on the conversation. So give us a flash of the mic if you'd like to share what difference you have had in shift of mentality potentially. Did you think it was going to be a lifestyle business and now you're building an empire? Let us know. And Ashley Shipman's going to take over with your flash of the mics.
So yeah, who's around? I went on.
Riding a horse.
I went on a Clubhouse stream. So yeah, guys, who is there? Who wants to share? Give us a flash of mics. So yeah, has Clubhouse changed your views on building an empire? Who is around? My screen is flickering. Michelle, I take it you're flashing? Nope. Okay. Michelle's not flashing.
Yeah, sorry. Had a glitch.
Where's that background noise? Where's that background noise? Is that you, Michelle?
No, I'm not out walking. I've done mine.
Okay. Yeah, fire away, Michelle.
So yeah, I think just for me, not just being an entrepreneur or a solopreneur and being a single parent and sort of doing everything by yourself, coming into, what you've built here actually has really made a massive difference, knowing that you really don't feel like you're alone. And it's kind of like checking in every morning with everybody. It's like, oh, well, that's a good idea. Maybe I should implement that. And so just, drawing down on the gold that is passed around the community and the support here that's phenomenal. You can reach out to somebody, you can offer help to somebody. But I think the thing for me with I had all of these brilliant ideas in my head around the school and what, jigsaw pieces flying around, listening to experts. Yesterday I was talking to Spencer about the smart farming, and it's just like blown my mind about the opportunities that you can generate, not just, because I'm building a village around the school. It's kind of like revenue income streams that support the school, because the school's got to be run as a business, right? That's where most private schools fail. And so just linking in, listening to Paul's podcast around the NFTs and okay, how can we generate an income stream around that? How can we generate an income stream around smart farming? All of those brilliant things, cutting edge, being ahead of the curve, that is really, I found, has cemented my vision. And like I said, just between Christmas and New Year, I went away for a week and I put everything together. And it's just it's really pulled the vision together and being able to get really clear on what I'm going to be presenting to the impact investors at the end of March. So yeah, so I love it. It's amazing what you built here, Ash. So thank you very much, and back to you.
Oh, thank you very much. And yeah, lovely, brilliant stuff. I was just thinking what you said about the private school. It has to be run like a business, and anyone who knows that sector, it can be tricky, it can be crazy. And yeah, I wish you all the success on that. So yeah, we just anyone there wants to share. Dan, good morning, my friend.
Morning, buddy. Morning, team. I hope we're all winning today. For me, I would say that this almost thought came into my head right at the start of Clubhouse in regards to being in this room. As you all know, I am a coach for kids, but I wanted to create kind of like a little mini empire. But I wanted to give young people, I say young people, 19 to 24. To me, that's young. I'm 37. So I wanted to give young people the chance just to do something different than just float out of university or school and just go into the system. I wanted them to kind of be the architect of their own fate by serving a younger community. So my little idea was to help coach them to become coaches for kids and or mentors. So that all started. It's a bit of an obsolete thing, really, because it didn't really start in 2022. It started mid 2021. Obviously, being part of this group and all what I've learned. So I obviously want to thank you guys for that, and it's still going. And if anything, pushed me in the direction of getting a certified program to go, which is CPD certified. So, yeah, without those thoughts congealing in my mind, thanks to you boys and girls, then that wouldn't have happened. And I've gone through my second wave of coaching young people now. So, cheers, Ash. Appreciate that, bro.
Brilliant, yeah, brilliant. Share there, down. And yeah, it's nice to just see, and it's like you just everyone in here. I just want them to go do well and be that go smash everything. I love it, and what it is 2022 is changing people's views. People are pivoting. I'm seeing people pivot now as well, not pivot, readjust, move where they are and go forward. But yeah, no, it's So before our guest comes on, just want to who's there? Who's built an empire? Who's got the who's there that wants to say they built an empire? Dean, are you there? Dean, are you there this morning? I know you normally always listen in. I'd like to know if you set out when you went on your journey. Dean, give us a flash of mic if you're there. My screen is flashing. I would like to know. I don't know about your journey. Anyone else had a big journey that's built something, exited, and what were their views before they got to that point? Give us a flash of mics. Who's achieved good things? No one? No one. Okay.
Jay at the bottom, bro. Jay and Chris want to go, mate.
Got Chris. Chris, tell us about an empire that you've built, and did you plan to?
Hi, good morning. Yeah, so I just wanted to. I haven't really got an empire, just a small business, but I did build a business previously, quite large. And but anyway, the first thing I want to say is that for the person who is looking for how to expand abroad, they should look to the local enterprise partnership and to go to the local growth hub, and you can get grants to actually travel abroad. You know, they can help you with funding if you put together the right sort of proposal. And give them enough time. You can get money to help you go on business trips abroad to grow your business abroad. And also, previously, what I've done is you can pay them to do research for you, and they will find businesses that you want to find abroad, and using the Department of Trade and Industry. So there's resources around apart from social media and doing your own research. You can, professional people can help you find the contacts you need abroad, and also once you've got your business trips organised, they can arrange events or they'll point you to events where they think you should go to network and find people that help you with expanding. I set up a business in California, in San Francisco, Fremont, and I've got lots of help using the local enterprise partnership to help me do that. And so that's something worth thinking about for growth. Yeah, that was it really. That was a share. Just, the government wants to help the UK business grow, and quite often we forget to access their resources. And there's really professional people there who want to help you, and so that's something to be aware of. Thanks.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, so brilliant. Reach out to Chris if no one reaches out, just reach out. It seems like some good schemes and government grants out there for you to go abroad. So yeah, thank you very much for your share. So yeah, our guest is finally in the room. So we're going to be digging deep very, very soon. So guys, thank you very much for that share, Chris. It's real valuable to probably be valuable to a lot of people in here who are looking to expand abroad. So. So
he's there, everybody. Nobody fear. He's never been late for a kid's party, but he's often late for other stuff. We've never let the children down.
We're going to reset and we'll be back, yeah?
Yeah, well, let's have a jingle. Let's have a fancy jingle.
You are listening to Breakfast with Winners, exclusive content, direct from the Winners Club. If you are enjoying the conversation, click on the Win Monopoly House at the top of the screen right now and join the thousands of winners already in our community. For even more actionable content and powerful lessons, download the free companion app now. Just search for the Winners Club in the App Store or Google Play. For more information about the Winners Club and how to be part of our growing community, head to thewinnersclub.club. Now, back to the show.
So we're back we're live. Welcome to Breakfast with Winners. It's a big Friday show live. It's almost like Steve Wright in the afternoon, but with slightly less of a budget. Even though we've got fancier equipment than Steve Wright.
Like you said originally, like the BBC, just a bit shit.
Just a bit shit than the BBC, that's what we are. But we are very excited because this morning we've been talking all morning about building an empire. We've basically been filling for time, frankly, until we've brought in the guy who knows more about empire building than anyone else I know. Ladies and gentlemen, he's the business impresario of Essex. He's the millionaire clown. That's the rugby term. That's what he called his own first.
Sorry, I actually remember the first time James ever come into the clubhouse room. Breakfast with Winners, he introduced himself as a Hugo Boss model.
But ladies and gentlemen, he's here. James Sinclair's in the room, everybody. So we've been talking. Come on then, let's get into it. So how did the James Jimbo Sinclair become the impresario of Essex? How did you become this business oracle? I think that it started off, you were a kids' party entertainer and your first ever employee was a PA who worked in your nan's bedroom.
Yeah,
I believe that's the story. Tell us
all this stuff. Yeah, so I did. I started off as a kids' entertainer and I realised very quickly that I loved doing that, but I was working with my hands and running a profitable job, and so I wanted to turn it into a business that didn't need me to do everything, and so I worked very hard to build up something. Today we're doing about 20 million in revenue, we've got about 1,000 staff, and still have some real strength within our souls to grow that business even further. So yeah, I'm going to take it to 100 million in revenue now. That's my aim.
Is it?
Yeah. I'm going to try and do it by the time I'm 40 as well.
You're now what, 36?
36, that's right.
So you've got 4 years to do it.
4 years to do it. But you see, you build up some momentum and I think you can do it. And why do I want to do it? Well, because why not? That's one of the main reasons, but also a big team around me, and I think as I grow the business, I can offer them more opportunities because the business is bigger. When you start to employ good people, which I've always believed in right from a teenager, when you build in those good people, you need to make sure that you're growing, otherwise they're going.
Yeah, 100%. What was who was the person around you who taught you the business acumen? Because let's say you were 15, 16 years old, you were doing £1,000 a week in kids' parties, weren't you?
Yeah, between 1,000 and 1,500 quid a week when I was a little whippersnapper.
This is like 20 odd years ago now.
Yeah,
so that's good money.
Yeah, it's good money now. Driving through Ilford and Romford to get here, I was reminiscing. I do it in my head every time. Oh, I've done a gig there, done a gig there, done a gig there, been in that school, done that. And so, those early years, I was looking over my shoulder at other business owners that had done something better than me, and I'd go and have chats and coffees with them, but reading books was probably the number one thing. But there wasn't the access to what we got now. Yeah. There was only the famous, there were the Dragons, there was the Richard Bransons, and only really knew of Richard Branson, a top entrepreneur that was giving out how he did it. And as the years trundle on, you meet other people and they say, "Oh, try this book, try that book." But I don't think I ever went to a seminar. In fact, I didn't go to a seminar, a business seminar, until about 2013. The first one I ever went to, when I was sort of exposed to this world, was after someone said, "Have you seen the Wolf of Wall Street film? You're going to love it." And I just bought Marsh Farm, so I watched it. And then at the end, I noticed Jordan Belfort was in it, doing seminars. And I thought, what? Seminars where they teach people like actual practical business stuff, even though he was not that. And then I just Facebook saw an ad card. He was doing something at the O2 for 20 quid or whatever it was. I paid 20 quid, and then I paid £2.5 to go on his weekend course. And I was like, this is actually really good. I did actually learn some good stuff from him about sales and marketing. And then I sort of was exposed to this world of shops and stuff about learning stuff. And I thought, I want to do this, but I'll do it in a good way. Yeah.
So what was it? So you're a kids entertainer. You're watching over your shoulder at other people who are doing better than you, or just further down the journey than you. Because you're only 15, 16 at this point. So everyone by default who's not at school is further down the line than you are at this point. Why did you think? You love what you did. You can see it even from like the early videos, and there's lots of footage out there of Jimbo the Party Man with the toilet roll gun and showing the people's nans and all this sort of stuff. What made you think I want to be a business owner rather than because you clearly had such a passion for what you did. Obviously, as you grow a business, you step further away from what you did. Apart from half turns, when you still gun toilet paper in people's faces at the farm.
So there was no way to earn more money than put your prices up, which obviously is one way of doing it, but it wasn't a proper business. I knew that if I got ill, and this is a lot of self-employed solopreneur people, you know, if you're an electrician, you break your arm, that could be the end of your income. And so I was really hot on building something that didn't need me. So I wanted to build a profitable enterprise that worked without me in it. And so that started coming into my mind, that why? Well, Mum had MS and died and didn't have anything.
You were quite young then as well.
Yeah, 16, 17. So I had that sort of, well, you can get ill. And so she was 43 when she died. So it wasn't, you know, so these tragic events happen, and they happen all the time. And I wanted to prepare myself. So I built an agency. That was the next step, really. I built an entertainment agency, and I trained up loads of entertainers, filled their diaries, and I got a little cut of what they was doing.
So you taught them your party model?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I trained them up, and then I opened a play centre called Party Mail World, and we've still got 10 of those today. And then I opened day nurseries, and we've got 10 of those today, and I want to grow more. And then I opened Marsh Farm, bought Marsh Farm, then Lee Valley, then I set up a teddy bear business, and they all sort of rolled into one. Then we bought Rossi Ice Cream, and we started building up this leisure and family entertainment brand, which we've still got and still love. And you know, I can sit here today and say that if I don't do anything, you know, we probably wouldn't grow, but the business would operate without me now, and that was, you know, where I wanted to get to.
It's really, we were talking about Rossi earlier, weren't we? Lemon ice. Ash's youth was spent having lemon ices down at Southend.
That was only about 5 years ago.
But Ashley's youth, what I did was, it's like I always assumed that Rossi was a global brand just because of around the area.
Yeah.
It was everywhere.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it was everywhere.
Everyone thinks that. I mean, when I go and see people now, and I was at a business dinner the other night with 100 business owners, they all think Rossi funds everything. So your family set up Rossi, and that managed you to get Marsh Farm and get Lee Valley and do all your property stuff. I'm like, all of that bought Rossi, and Rossi loses money and loses a lot of money. You know, we're turning that business around. We do turn around people as an organisation. We buy businesses, we turn them around, we get more customers, we put in the right systems, the processes, and the structure in place to get it ready to sell, even if we have no intention of selling it. We've never really sold a business. The one we've sold, Fort Fun, which was our farm adventure, a little theme park in Eastbourne. It was a deal that we just thought was right at the beginning of COVID, so we did sell that. But other than that, we've never sold anything. And we like turning businesses around.
Does the idea of selling it scare you?
People come to me now, offer me stuff, parts of the business. Yeah, I've been offered stuff, and I never really. I sort of like the conversation, but then never do anything. I don't know why. It's like a sense of security that you know someone would give you something for what you've done. But you know, then I look at my people and the people around me, and you know, that I'd find that very difficult.
Because you've built a family brand, but your company runs on family values as well. As someone who's been in it at a certain point.
You have, haven't you? And my senior team, the Janky and Tracy
Aaron
and all my senior people, you know, that I'm very blessed that I love working with them, and I think you know, I think we spend more time with the people we work with. So if you like working with them, you're richer than rich, aren't you?
Yeah. So there's a challenge that we've got, lads.
There's a common theme through James' storytelling, being in this room on Clubhouse. He gets the sack a lot. So he got the sack from radio and various places.
I didn't sack him.
That's what we wanted to find out. Okay, there we go. We've got clarification, everybody.
Coronavirus come along and he winked out. And I think if he'd have stayed, we could have built something quite magical, but the timing wasn't right. And you know, coronavirus. We had plans to do seminars and events and stuff, and literally Boris said no. So
I remember
it's difficult.
Had good mate Boris.
The 16th of March, and me, you, and Chud's like, right, we're getting early tomorrow. We're going to film 3 months worth of content. We might be shut. I remember that conversation. They reckon 6 weeks shut down. You'll go, nah, 2 weeks, mate. Let's plan to 6 weeks.
I just can't believe it's been 2 years.
I remember you packing down the office that night. And actually, that was, like, jokes aside, I already liked you as a person and I respected you as a business person, but watching you that day have to furlough 30 or 40 people when you didn't have a fucking clue.
We didn't know about furlough, did we?
No, you didn't at that point.
No, I just knew that, I was seeing cash burning at such an alarming rate because the public had already decided not to come.
That's
to our
right,
meetings. The revenues had turned off.
Yeah.
And so, you have to make the very smart decisions in those times of crisis, like, well, how do you protect the cash in the business? Because it's very quick that it just sort of burns cash, and everyone sort of said, "Oh, Jimmy, you're overreacting." But I saw in other countries that there was like a furlough situation going on. So, with some educated guess, I thought, well, we live in the United Kingdom. We don't live in some third world dictatorship country. I knew that we were going to be in a situation where the government would come in, but just in case it took them 2, 3, 4 weeks to be daddling about, when you got someone like me that £500,000 payroll, sometimes £650,000, £700,000 payroll every single month, you've got to make those decisions, or everyone could lose their jobs.
Yeah.
So what we did was a short and work thing, and then obviously furlough came in like a few days later, but we were
fast on it. Yeah.
Has that situation made you look at how you structure employment contracts moving forward? Have you got any provisions put in there now that you didn't have? Kept it exactly the same.
Because I want to be fair, and I want people to come and stay with us and build their careers with us. The funny thing is, I meet lots of really successful entrepreneurs and business owners. I was out for dinner with one on Wednesday evening, and he is of a serious wealth, 50 million, 60 years old, and he is, wealthier than I am. But we were discussing how much we spend and what we take out of the business, and we're very aligned and very similar. And you sort of are creating this movement that generates cash and generates profit, but most entrepreneurs don't extract that out of the business. They're just growing and putting more money back into the economy. They just want control of, I think, assets and wealth to be able to grow what is their legacy and story. And that's why I'm very, very pro-government, not taking too much from entrepreneurs and business owners, because I think they're useless with wealth creation and useless at infrastructure projects. And I think business owners and entrepreneurs are much better at employing and solving the world's problems. I believe every entrepreneur, that all the world's problems are solved by great entrepreneurs. I don't think our transport problems are going to be solved by government. I think entrepreneurs will solve the world's problems. The internet is entrepreneurs, medicine is entrepreneurs, and so they need to be free as much as possible to grow their business.
So you started the lockdown and all that stuff, like I say, no one knew what was going on, and I've probably still got a photo of it, because I was like, I know this is a moment in time which would be weird to look back on. I took a photo of you sitting down in the barn at Marsh Farm and effectively telling everyone, right, tomorrow don't come to work because we can't open, because we've been told, because the government, the rules at the start were very, very vague, weren't they? For leisure. Obviously all industries were hit, but leisure especially was battered. And they're like, you probably shouldn't open, like morally, we ask, I think like terms like, a business owner has to look at their moral conscience as to whether to trade or not. I was like, well, that's not really useful. I remember everyone sat down in a circle and you said, look, we don't know what's going to happen here. We're going to try and protect the business as best we can. We don't know how long this is going to be shut for.
Well, I believe my staff at the beginning thought I was completely overreacting to it. But they don't get cash burn rates.
Yeah.
Like someone that signs the checks, they just don't get it.
Yeah.
And I think lots of people think businesses just have millions of pounds in huge war chests and reserves. But even if I had a 6, 7, 10 million pounds of reserves, within 3 months, that's gone. Just go.
Yeah.
If you're not doing anything and nothing's coming in.
Yeah. Who did you turn to for, like say the senior team, potentially you go, Jim, this is a bit much. This is all going to blow over. Obviously, it was
my top people were okay.
Yeah,
they got it. They knew what I wanted to achieve, but certainly middle and lower management, I don't think fully understood it.
So you went into
they did very quickly.
Yeah.
But within days, go. Yeah. And I think actually now they would look back and go, oh yeah, this is the guy that almost survives.
Yeah.
Unbelievably, I don't know. I will always pull through, and that can be a to kill.
Yeah.
But that can be, very hard for the people around you and your family, because you just keep on going. That can be very tough to live with.
Are you still chasing that towel of the effect of COVID over your businesses?
COVID's been great. In summary, it's been really affected lots of our businesses, and there's been challenges, but the opportunities, and this is what I always try and tell entrepreneurs, the opportunities that come out of these situations are flipping fantastic. It is a fact that more millionaires and billionaires are made in economic downturns than any other process of the economic cycle. And as soon as it happened and I sorted out stopping the cash burn rate, I was on opportunities.
Because you bought Ross, you
bought Rossi's, bought Lee Valley. There's a number of others that I've bought and I can't remember right now. But another day nursery in North London. There'll be more if I had sort of 3 or 4 minutes to collect thoughts together that I've done in the industrial park. Yeah, we bought a bakery. All of those businesses are all. I wasn't joking. If I just have a seconds, I'll think of them all. But we literally we came into the pandemic with sort of 8 to 10 million of revenue, and we're coming out of it with 20 million of revenue. So it's been a very good 24 months for us, because a lot of people give up and they don't want especially if you come into retirement, you say, can I be bothered to innovate? Because business is a process of innovation and marketing, and if you don't innovate, you evaporate. And coronavirus has been forcing people to innovate more than ever. Restaurants have never done takeaway; they've started doing it. That's a classic example. Shops that have never done click and collect, well, within a week they're doing click and collect. They've turned themselves into Argos and Amazon overnight in their own many little ways. And so we were doing all that innovation stuff very, very quickly. And then when it stopped working, we dumped it very quickly, because actually I believe that human beings, it's a great way of explaining post-pandemic behaviour. And I love telling this little analogy. We're like elastic bands. We're stretched, but we cannot wait to go back to our normal state. And that is most human beings. They stress is a great way of it. You stretch, and then from back to normal, back to that original state. And we're seeing that all the time. The second people could go to restaurants, they were off to the restaurant. The second people could, even flirt with the idea of going on holiday, they were going on holiday. They were going for days out. The bounce back, the resurgence was huge, and you saw click and collect shopping going down and back into normal retail stores going back up. And that's why people like Primark have had record sales and stuff, because people want to go back.
So you did something very, very clever, very early on, which was the Marsh Farm drive-through.
Yeah.
Which again, you guys had never done before. The barn at Marsh Farm wasn't. Yeah. It was going to be an events facility. It goes back to your point of innovate or evaporate.
Correct.
So the barn was going to, because we were talking about doing a refurb. You was going to lump in a load of dough to refurb it, so it'd be a nice all year round training facility. Yeah. Then obviously everything got shut down, and within, I think, in a matter of weeks, it's probably week singular. You're like, we'll do a drive-through.
Well, yeah. So no one was allowed to come to Marsh Farm.
That's right. Yeah.
Which is for listeners, it's like a zoo/visitor attraction. So certainly not allowed during COVID.
Yeah.
We had this big barn that James was talking about. We used it for seminars and school trips and stuff like that. And so we just turned it into a farm shop, and it was good for the first 6, 8, 10, 12 weeks, because Sainsbury's and Tesco were mucking it up. No one could get stuff. No one could buy pasta. No one could buy toilet rolls. Well, we had a load of that stuff in our catering kitchen, so we just shipped it all out of those from our 11 venues, started selling it, and it was good. But then the supermarkets caught back up, and I took a look at myself in the mirror and I said, I can't compete with Asda. So once it started weaning off, we just dumped it.
How far into it weaning off do you dump stuff like that? Because you've obviously invested a lot of time, effort, energy, and money into making it into a farm shop. So do you have like a cut-off point, or did it have to wash its face so that it was ticking over?
Over 20 years, I've set up many things that haven't worked, and I've persevered with some of them for too long, and then you lose money. And sometimes they come good and sometimes they don't, but you get a measure of things. One of the reasons I didn't want to carry on with that farm shop was the margins were not good. You would have 30% gross profit on your stuff, and if your basket sells only 30 quid, and then you got to pay your staffing, your overheads, not good. Now, Tesco, Sainsbury's probably to 25% GPs, the average basket sale might be 150 quid, and millions of pounds worth of sales per day per store, and so you get economies of scale. I didn't have that, so because the margin wasn't there, I'm out.
So then you turned it into?
It's now a sort of a gift shop for an exit for a visitor attraction. Which
you turned it into a Christmas,
a
Christmas market.
A Christmas market at Christmas, but we decided there wasn't a lot of that in January.
but the council first year they shut it down.
Yeah, the council shut me down in January, in November, December of 2020, and all the garden centres were allowed to stay open.
So at that point now, you say you're hard to kill. You're like a business cockroach. That's an analogy that I've given you. Maybe Chuds can make it into something like cool graphic or something. Just put his head on a cockroach. That look amazing. But how frustrating, irritating, and unjust. Like garden centres are open at this point. And for those who can't remember, or if maybe not your set to paying particular attention to it, garden centres and other sort of semi-retail environments could open, but leisure couldn't. The gym's got this big barn, and now a big park, because the big top officially you have the sides off, so it's now not inside, it's kind of outside. So you've kind of ticked all the boxes as far as you can.
Yeah.
You're no different in that instance from a garden centre, 5 minutes down the road, who are allowed to open, and you're not. As someone who's like, I'm trying to keep staff on, I'm trying to keep cash coming in, I'm trying to keep the lights on, so that when it comes back, everyone's got a job to come to. How did you deal with that situation?
Well, I was annoyed about it, and we videoed the conversation of the council not allowing us to trade and open, and we sent that video to MPs and councillors, and they all said, yeah, it's really bad, isn't it, that garden centres are allowed to have record numbers and we're not, and we still couldn't open. They put the enforcement notice on me.
Did they?
Yeah, because I just said, right, I'm staying open. And then once I got the enforcement notice, I thought,
not staying
should
open.
I really fight this? And I decided that I could probably win the battle with the council, but they would always win the war with something else. And if right now I'm building a dinosaur park on Marsh Farm, and I don't want to annoy the council in the long term.
To win friends and influence people for the greater good.
So I just cried in front of them. I practically did, because we were really trading well. That was good, and then. But I've decided not to do that next year either, because again, it's not our core business.
Yeah,
we've done lots of things that that just give it a go stuff during the pandemic and during coronavirus. But everyone's going back to normal behaviour, and we need to go back to understanding that is what we need to do. And so I've dropped all of that retail stuff, and we're now just doing what you would see at a zoo and what you would see at a visitor attraction, because people's behaviours are going back to normal.
Is there anything that you did pick up during the pandemic that you're going to keep doing?
Yeah, understanding our childcare business needs to have more of my time and more cash investment, because our business stayed strong all the way through.
Yeah.
And so, we will keep on doing that.
Because at certain points, that must have been the only thing that was actually allowed to trade, because you could do childcare for essential services, couldn't you?
So our childcare business, we go into the pandemic with sort of a £2.5 million revenue business. By the end of this year, I think we'll get that to 5-6 million, and then next year I have aspirations to get that to 10 million a revenue business and a £2.5 million profit business within our organisation. And that then alone would mean that we would always survive, and that would fund all the rest of our businesses should coronavirus rear its head again. I need like 24 months to achieve that. It's very profitable now. It's a very good part of our business now, but it's not big enough to carry the rest.
What's you always say, and I love this saying, start with the end in mind, plan to sell it even if you never intend to sell it.
Yep.
What does the exit look like for you now? What does the end look like?
Well, two things. I need to make sure that should something happen to me, my family could not run this organisation. Haven't got one of them's one of them's five.
It's not so far.
And then there's two cocker spaniels and a cat, and Natalie. And Nats couldn't, she's my partner in life, but she could not run my organisation. She gets stressed out over things that are so trivial. Oh, hello.
Oh God, that's some. Is she ever been on Clubhouse?
She's not. It's no.
Hello, darling. want to do what I do. So and that's why I do a lot of commercial property and property stuff, because I believe that my family could look after a property portfolio. Should anything happen to me, an agent could look after it, a solicitor, could look after that. So I want to make sure that I'm building stronger systems and processes and people around me, even more so than where we are at now, so that it becomes a more corporate business running structure rather than just entrepreneurial. I mean, we are still making a decision. Aaron, my team at Yankee makes a decision, and then we do it within a couple of hours, and that needs to become a bit more structured, I think, as it gets bigger.
What is the biggest change that needs to happen for that to be the reality? Is it just for you to not?
Well, you need to
doing it.
For give you an example, like we've got a business park, we've got 15 tenants there, they're all on licenses, we make good yields, which is a term that we discuss for renting a property out, but we need to put them on long leases as time travels on, because then that's much more secure, and it doesn't need my brain to go, I really like that guy, let me give a chance to him, because that's what I do. You only start out, you haven't got a deposit, you've got no account.
I see a lot of you and me, son.
Yeah.
You'll be right.
And I love doing that sort of stuff, but that's not what a 5-year-old and a 1-year-old. Should I die tomorrow? They've got all those problems to deal with. Plus, 10 play centres, and a farm park, and it just, I need to systemize it, and it's very good right now. So another entrepreneur could come in, another senior good DNA entrepreneurial person come in, but we're not like the Duke of Westminster's portfolio in London that can be run by generational stuff. So I do, to answer your question, number one is making sure that my family are all right should I disappear, because they would have a lot to deal with. And I'm acutely aware of that, because I've also seen that happen to me. So that's one of the things. Secondly, I just want to build it into a situation where my senior team have got a real stake in it and enjoy the wealth from it as well.
Awesome stuff. Right, let's quickly open it up to some questions from the floor, shall we? The digital floor. So if you are listening in Clubhouse, obviously if you're listening on our app on Listen Again function, or via the radio player, you can't join in this bit. Unfortunately, sorry about that. If you'd like to join in these conversations live, you can do so. Just come onto the Winners Club via Clubhouse, Monday to Friday, 6:30 till 9 a.m. UK time. You can join in with Breakfast with Winners. But if you are listening in via Clubhouse right now, feel free to flash the mic if you'd like to ask the millionaire clown James Jimbo Sinclair question. Okay, it's not a derogatory. He called his bucket like I'm not saying like it's actually what he called himself. So let's go to. Got it.
You sent a video on the group, didn't you? There's a video of you climbing a balloon. Oh, it's hilarious.
Do you know, I sent that to him. I said, look, we're naturally coming on the show, and the only thing about transitions are too long in that. I'm like, oh, for God's sake. That's better than that. Transitions are too long.
Yeah, that's a gift. It's the kids. You use the kids in the
There's so many people. There's so many people like, oh yeah, I've been to one of his parties. Or right.
She was announced coming on it.
I think we might be getting one of these comments now. So Beju, aka the sniper from Southend, I presume that you live in James Sinclair land.
I know Beju.
Hello, James. James spoke at one of my events a few years ago. He came to Southend. I run an event for students and unemployed, and James smacked it out of the park. You remember that, didn't you, mate?
Yeah. Well, it was more than a few years ago. I reckon that was more like 9 years ago.
No, it was 2015.
2015 was it? 7 years ago. Oh, that's 7 years ago.
Yeah, all right, 7. So yeah, so massive. No, and my question is this: like you often say like real business about the bricks and mortar, the stuff, not this information stuff. What's your take on this web tea, all these businesses where it can be completely online? Can you see Party Man and Marshawn be part of this metaverse and people experiencing your things on a virtual platform? Can you see that coming in the time that you're going to grow your empire?
Yeah, I mean, from my point of view, Bejo, I think businesses need to be doing both, and I think you're seeing that absolutely. But if you go to Blue Water right now, you're seeing Amazon opening a physical store. That is a real point blank evidence. They've done that in the last 6 months. They've done that in coronavirus when people are moving away from that stuff. So I do believe there is a place for using technology and physical more than ever, because people, they can't afford big houses and big gardens, and just because the the race for space that we're living in, especially in highly populated areas like London and stuff like that. So I do think people want access to outside space. We're seeing record numbers in our venues at the moment where people want to do the physical. But yeah, I believe there is a space to use technology, metaverse, online learning, and then do it with physical stuff too.
Do you think you go down that road? Do you think part of the Marshall will be a virtual experience?
We've been talking about doing VR stuff already over the last couple of years. We was going to open a VR centre, but we haven't got round to that because other things have been going on. But that definitely does get spoke about with our senior team, absolutely. But I think VR learning, that could be seminars. Once people have got access to the technology easily, and easily is the optimum word here, we would definitely dive in on that stuff.
Nice one, James. Need to see you back on Clubhouse now and again, my friend.
Yeah, I'm just looking at you. You've got a few people here. Yeah, maybe I should go back. YouTube's my thing,
YouTube is definitely your thing, isn't it? I saw a post that you had the other day about blockchain, about crypto, and you said you were going to invest in something first. Have you still
I'm a chat with Charles, who's, and then I sort of happy myself when it tanked in it the other day, in record. I just think, I need to, want to read 10 books about it, listen to 20 podcasts about it, and I still haven't done that. So I just want to understand it because everyone's talking about it. So my actual view was to put like £1,000 into it, to actually put some hard money in, to force myself just to flip and understand. Which I still haven't done.
Okay. Are you going to? Because obviously,
if you do, it will change your view on the next 10 years. Honestly.
Yeah, well, that's. I think I've got to do it.
Yeah.
You're someone, so we're sat in Paul's building, and you're someone who's now proactively not building as fast the property side of what you're doing because of Web 3.0, aren't you?
Yeah, I said to myself, I'm not. But again, the caveat of that is I'm coming from a position of having a property portfolio, but I won't buy another property again. I've said that to myself. That's not to say I'm putting all my money into Bitcoin. It's not to say I'm putting all my money into Ethereum. But the technology behind blockchain and the problems that it solves, I've made a conscious choice to say I'll explore that and I'll develop something in that world. Because the technology that, like, if it's cryptocurrencies and blockchain, they solve a purpose. But the way they work, when you understand the way they work, and the components of it, and the next level of technology that it opens up to, it solves so many of businesses' problems potentially.
Yeah, I get that. But that's why I need to.
And somewhere in there is like we said, the opportunity. Somewhere in there for people that can understand it and can piece together the pieces and match. Like it's the word in Web hybridization, isn't it? But the hybrid world of combining Web 3.0 and the technology that's available with the physical world or actual real businesses. However that gets worked out, and whoever works that out, that's where the gold is.
Do you reckon there's a race to be first at the minute?
No, because there's so many solutions. There's so many solutions. You've got people that are already using blockchain in the tracking world of tracking shipping containers and tracking physical assets. Blockchain is digital trust. That's what it is. So it's a way of trust being transacted between two parties without the need for solicitors, contracts, and all sorts of stuff going on, and it's immediate proof that something's happened. So you go into human resources worlds, and you go into, imagine the world of biometrics where people used to, you probably got it where staff come on a time clock and they log themselves into work. That used to rely on somebody putting a physical card on or somebody scanning into a machine. If that's on blockchain, it's immediately, that could sync to a payroll system, which could then immediately pay people based on their time without the admin required of somebody monitoring or managing a system. There's so many solutions for it if you look at how blockchain works. So no, it's not a race to be first, because you can't be first to solve every problem. Like somebody will solve. Property is a big one. The way property transacts at the moment is archaic. But if you tokenize a house or tokenize a physical asset on the blockchain, that will be one that somebody will crack first of all, and that will be you. That won't be me.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's just there's so many uses for it. I'm not one that's buying the hype of Bitcoin, or there's two worlds, isn't there? People saying let's invest in Bitcoin or let's invest in a cryptocurrency where they buy the asset, but then there's the technology behind it, which is the bit that is fascinating to me. Anyway,
I'll send you a link to Paul's podcast. He talks about Web 3.0. Very easy to understand why, because he's been doing some digging the last 6 months or so. I'll send it to you. Right, you mentioned about VR training, but you also Now we're coming back to the real world. Thank good Lord. Have you just bought a bakery?
Yep.
And what's the plan? Can you?
So we bought Rossi. And when I bought it,
I've never had a Rossi ice cream. I was just Saturday today and have one.
Just go away.
I didn't know there was much other ice cream brands. The Rossi was the one. The one. When I was a kid,
right.
it was the one.
That's right.
My granddad used to take me Rossi, Chinkford High Street. Take
Yeah.
me to Rossi's on Chinkford High Street to go Rossi ice cream.
So I bought the factory and the manufacturing plant and the brand, and then all the individual shops used to be owned by one big family, and they have sold the shops off over time. And I bought it, and obviously makes a lot of money in the summer when the sun shines. Cash comes in. When the rain comes out, it doesn't rain money. And so, because of my skill sets in the past of running a farm park where it rains and no cash comes in, and build a day nursery there and solve the problem by leveraging overhead and minimising downtimes, I wanted to do the same with Rossi. The Rossi's a 100-year-old brand that when people know about it, it's got a great affection and love. So I bought a bakery. I'm going to rebrand the bakery Rossi Patisserie. So Rossi ice cream, Rossi Patisserie, and I'm working on buying a sweet brand that will be rebranded over time to Rossi Sweets. By combining those three companies together, I believe in 5 years we'll build a 10 million revenue business that makes £2.5 million. So that's the strategic reason for buying Rossi Patisserie.
The brand has love and affection to a lot of people in Essex.
Yeah. And all of the shops, the coffee shops and stuff like that, so all make Rossi coffee as well. They sell cakes, they sell breads, and they sell loads of ice cream, obviously. But so we want to be the supply chain for all those. And Rossi will become the food services part of that business. So we spend about £1.2 million a year with Breaks, which I'm sure a lot of people have heard of. They're a big food distributor. Going to do stuff through Rossi because we've got transport and freezer lorries and vans, and so I'm trying to build a food services business with Rossi.
You have physical locations? Can we go to a Rossi coffee shop for a Rossi bun?
There's one on the seafront in Westcliff, very famous, about 70 years old, just underneath the...
Did you get that as part of the purchase, that was the one? Or
So
they
they-
individually owned still?
They are individually owned, but that's out. We supply all the stuff that you buy there is from us, and we license the brand.
Is that the little one or the one in the casino? There's a little one, wasn't there? On the corner?
There's four along the sea. They're our aspiration.
There's four just
I've been to Southend like once. Is it good? Should I go again?
Chalkboard's better.
Let's stay around Chalkboard Lee.
Yeah, but if you're a kid, then you want to be in Southend. But if you get old, you want to be in Chalkboard. Older. We have aspirations to follow the shops back over time and open. We done a video on YouTube about looking to open one in Covent Garden.
I saw that, yeah.
So we do want to open more venues, but we don't want 300, but 10 good ones.
Yeah.
And then supply all our own venues.
You've got a lot of businesses in around Essex. You are Essex famous. You are the Essex Impresario, which is the brand.
I don't know about that. We're in Wembley, Oxford, Cambridge.
So my question is, you're very, very well known in Essex.
Yeah.
And your brands are very well known in Essex. Like, if you live in Essex, you've been to a party in the world. You've probably had a Jimbo Sinclair birthday party. You've probably had a Rossi ice cream. Like, is your plan to UK domination? Do you start with Essex, then the South East, then the world?
I would say most of our bulk of our turnover comes from out of Essex. Wembley, Ipswich, Cambridge, parts of Man Worlds are very well known there, and there's nurseries there. Lee Valley, I suppose that's on the Essex Hertfordshire border, but we want to grow Rossi into a national brand. Absolutely. Do I want to have 300 parts of Man Worlds? Probably not. No.
Do you want? You said you've got to get to like 3 really good, nicely run Rossi coffee shops or patisseries. Would you go prep style? Would you go coffee style? Would you go mass market?
It would be more like patisserie value, I think. Okay. The Rossi brand more.
Yeah.
So they would have big ice cream Napoli counters in, amazing milkshakes, and then good cakes and good food that's we're working on that right now, and it would be more for the family market because that's what we're good at.
Awesome. Right, we talked about the digital world, the metaverse, and the crossover. You think the power is in the crossover of half hybridization, easy for me to say. And one of the things you talked about a minute ago was VR learning, but you also do real world learning. What's happening in September?
Absolutely. This is where, see, James, when you came to us, this was my plan to do stuff like this.
Yes.
And then you left me, and after 4 months of counselling,
What kind of counselling was it?
I was really tough, really tough.
Celebratory
I can't quite work out if it's your loss or our gain, or the other way round. I'm not sure yet.
No one looked too far into it. No one looked too far into it.
I wanted to, create learnings and entrepreneurial learnings for business owners that was affordable but very good learnings, like real practical good stuff, not the stuff that's get rich quick, which a lot of in this sort of learning business space is all like, right, as soon as Clubhouse comes out, there's some person, I've got a course for Clubhouse and they can make you millions. Did you do that? But that's what happened.
Bastard.
And then I pulled it after 2 weeks, and I was like, "This is not me." I was new to that sort of industry as well.
Yeah, I just don't like.
I pulled into everyone.
But when people come and see me, it's good, practical stuff that I know that works, tried, tested, and proven. And sometimes that just ain't for everyone because they don't want to actually build long, valuable, good foundational based stuff. They just want to, build a house with no foundation. So I tell people exactly how to do it, and within 10 years build something really seriously valuable that someone wants to buy. Buy companies with no money. I've done that 15 times, and then use your cash to improve the businesses, and how to raise cash, how to employ the best people, all of that stuff, how to get customers. Really good at teaching practical stuff. I'm doing that without any money as well, because you do need some money, but I've had to be very frugal in growing my businesses because I haven't been venture capitalist backed or some rich parent. So I've had to work out how to grow everything with my cash flow and generating customers. And so I thought, I'm going to run a 2-day event in London. I didn't want to charge people $2.5 grand. I just wanted to charge people a few £100. So I've rented out the ILIC for whatever thousands of pounds it is, and we're hoping to get 500 business owners there. And the strength of my YouTube channel, I'll tell people the numbers right now. It's not till September. We've already sold 25 grand's worth of tickets without any ad spend, without really forcing it down. We're just saying, look, hey, we're running a 2-day event in London called the Business Masterclass, and I'm going to show you how to do all these things. Want to come along? People bought tickets, and it's really good. We want to sell it out and spend 2 days in London with never having to worry about some bloke pitching. Come on to my super course where I really show you the secrets. I just want 2 days.
Show the secrets.
Yeah,
within 2 days.
Yeah, for a few £100. It's 150 quid a day, and I'll show you it all.
Yeah,
with my clothes on.
Will you be doing any magic tricks?
Business magic only.
Probably not. No.
Business magic.
No, it's going to be 2 full-on days, and it's going to start early, finish late, and I'm going to, I really want to show people how to, because it's really difficult to build a company one customer at a time.
Yeah.
And if everyone watches my career, I've started businesses from scratch. Yes, that can be done. I've done it multiple times. Actually, sometimes it's way better. I'll tell you a quick story. Teddy pasting. I made teddy bears. I made over 1 million teddy bears. In the pandemic, I bought another company called Kids Be Happy, which is a stand-up company, and they supplied all the holiday parks. We were desperate to get in the holiday parks. So I bought Kids Be Happy. I structured a deal where I had to put no money in to buy it. On the back of that, we are now supplying all of Havens with their stand-up and their teddy bears.
Oh, wow.
Park Dean, Park Resorts, and now we're supplying Centre Parks because I bought that company that got me that shoe and do that. So it's really a fantastic way of growing your company by bolt-on companies around your existing business. You can really grow what you've got very quickly rather than trying to do it one customer at a time. But people think they need to be a venture capitalist, a pension fund to be able to do this stuff. And I've come up with strategies and tactics on how you can do this to really build a brilliant business.
Awesome
Did
stuff.
you strategically go after that company, or did the opportunity come up and you
That one
explored the
came to me.
opportunity?
So making content, I spent a lot of time doing YouTube, my podcast. I get so much stuff magnetized towards me, and usually they know how I like to structure a deal because
you keep telling people,
I want to give you a load of money up front. I'm happy to pay what you want for the business, but I want to structure it over a period of time. If that's for you, let's talk. If it's not, then I'm off. And the YouTube channel, Sense Parks really came off the back of YouTube. Yeah, I don't know why, but one of the buyers at Sense Parks watches my YouTube channel.
You've been at it for so long. There's so much.
I feel I should be bigger than Kim Kardashian. I put more effort in making videos than Kim Kardashian.
How many have you got now? About 500 odd? You must have. What? 400, 500 videos?
Oh, I thought it was talking about subscribers.
Setting you up for no, 10,000.
I think we're galloping way closer towards 600.
Really?
Yeah. We're nearly there, aren't we, Chuds? Yeah. Which is even more depressing. Which to the extent, I'm off to our factory in India where we make all our tea. We've set up our own factory in India and we've opened this weekend. So we're going for the big opening next Thursday. And I think that's really good content. So I've got blood to take Chuds with me. So I've got to pay for a ticket for him to come to India with me and Janky, who's our commercial director, because we're setting this all up. That's how much I care about making content.
Videos costing you 10 grand.
Extra.
It works, doesn't it?
We show people real good, but
those videos. If you wanted to know how to build a properly grown up business, you can watch those videos and do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
but people just don't. They need that interaction. They need to see people face to face.
Yeah.
We have pinned the link to Jimbo's event at the top of the room.
Can you tell people about my YouTube channel as well?
Yeah, we can do that if you want. Yeah, but let me just talk about your event first. The most important business event of the year.
Yeah,
Jimbo Sinclair, 2-pack days, learning how to grow your business, maximize your profitability, and leverage your personal wealth. It's going to be September. It's 2 days. It's Thursday and Friday, I believe, at the ILEC in central London. What there's going to be covering, shaping your business with the end in mind, so you know exactly what you're building. Grow your business without needing you.
But that's really important. Just stop there. Even if you don't come to that, if you're a business owner and you're working on your own and you think everything's lovely, take a moment to think about your family, because if you disappeared, what have you got? When you come to retirement, what have you got? So actually the biggest wealth is by building a team. You may continue.
Thank you. Customers easier, faster, with less money. Buying business instructors. Explain how Jimbo has bought 15 companies, a lot of them with no or very low money down. Flipping fantastic people. Flipping fantastic people. God, you can tell you've written this copy. How to find the flipping fantastic people who grow your business. How to use your business to grow a property portfolio. As somebody, I've got to say, as somebody who has worked alongside Jim, his stuff is very, very good. It's very, very good. It's very, very. You can see people who've been to like a lot of other events and they come to one of yours and like, oh shit, they say you run like a proper business. Okay, sure. People like the penny drops. I've seen the penny drop a lot in your rooms. It's very, very good. So go and check that out. The pinned link is at the top of the room right now. It's a couple £100. It's in September. There'll be 500 other serious business owners who are going to be there in the room. And also, as he strong arms me into, go and check out his YouTube channel.
You'll like that.
Search for James Sinclair on YouTube. I love the James Sinclair YouTube channel. I think it's fantastic. I love watching the videos. I love watching because you show exactly how you're doing it.
Yeah,
with the stuff you can't do.
As well now, like when I call up HMRC because they're so unorganised, and I just feel like they attack anyone if they're doing something, and I just think, no, they're so unorganised. So when I'm calling them up because they sent me a bill for 60 grand or whatever it was, that's not right. Because we've already paid it. They sent me another letter last week that we owed them 40 grand in PAYE. We paid it, but they'd missed the payment. And they send me them nasty letters, and I just think they need to be told. They need to be told when they're doing this. I record that content now and put it on YouTube. It annoys me.
So go and check out Jimbo wherever it is. Hopefully also we can get back onto Clubhouse a bit more often. There's been 1,000 people listening in this morning to the conversation, so it's well worth getting you back in. We can get you down to Ilford a few more times.
Yeah, for sure.
Who knows?
I'm going to build this. I love it.
This is very good, isn't it? I take zero credit for what's been built here. Ask him yes, we have run out of time, unfortunately. We've gone well over.
908.
Hopefully, you guys have enjoyed this content.
Sad news that broke while we were Meatloaf has passed away.
Oh, you're joking. What? Debbie Downer. Send the show with.
Well, I'm saying that because the music I'm going to play.
Oh, okay, makes sense. Right. I did not expect former FIFA House Club DJ Paul Abercrombie is going to play some Meatloaf like it's Radio 2. Okay, sure. Which history is, guys? We'll be back on Monday, 6:30 a.m. We've got a very interesting conversation to kick off the week. We're talking about electromagnetic frequency. I don't know if I've sort of upsold that or downsold that. I'm not sure if I could expect anyone to turn up. Basically, every single electrical device you have in your life emits a frequency, and we'll be talking about the power of a digital detox.
We've got a good guest next week as well again.
We have. Well, don't say like we had shit guests this week.
Good guests this week.
Yeah, that's what we meant, yeah. Continuation of good guests, that's what you meant. Okay, I get ya. Come on then, let's have some flipping Meatloaf. See you on Monday, everyone.